Patrick Perez.
It's yours, boys and girls and birds. Let's go!
You're drunk. And Jen Jensen.
I can't even. I mean,
On your home of the Gamecocks.
I don't know. Everything's going wrong, and I don't know what to do. I don't know, but I might go back to bed.
107.5.
I'm pretty good at drinking beer.
The Game.
June the 13th as we get you going here. The Game 5 of the NBA Finals tonight. We'll have NHL Stanley Cup Finals starting this week. We will head into the College World Series this weekend. Congratulations to North Greenville, the Crusaders, Landon Powell and Trey Dyson. They claim a Division II national championship over the weekend for North Greenville Crusaders. So a lot to get into this morning, and we'll also continue our countdown, Patrick, of the top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era. And kind of interesting to discuss this player this morning because we talked about him a little bit last week. Like we've covered most of South Carolina's roster since 1992 in the last 15 hours of the program. But we got into this player a little bit, so we'll let you listen to that coming up at about 7:12 this morning. So if you want to be a part of the program, 803-404-6100, how you can do that, how you can weigh in. You can also go and hop on our live stream as people always do. DC, David, Will, all up and joining us this morning on the live stream where you can go and join in the chat. Anything that you hear that you don't necessarily want to say to us, but you want to talk about it amongst others, you can go and do so on that chat and discuss anything there. So a lot of ways to get in touch with us this morning. And we start off with Ron from Lake Marion, who, Ron, I apologize. I should have come by your house there at Waibu on Saturday. Played out at the Players Club or the Players Championship, whatever it was, the Players Course at Waibu, where Ron had let me know that he resides and offered me a chance to come by and enjoy some delicious bourbon with him. But worn out and exhausted from a fun weekend of playing golf. Patrick, how'd that Belmont Stakes? We had Mo Donegal.
Mo Donegal?
Donegal, yes. Yeah. He
didn't watch it.
I
got a nasty sunburn this weekend.
What happened?
I was visiting my parents at the lake. It was bad. We went out and there's like a little sandbar in Lake Greenwood that people tie up and you just kind of hang out. And I sprayed myself with sunscreen, but I missed basically my shoulder blades, the whole top section of my back. I couldn't get the right angle, so I'm just torched right on the top of my back. It's not great, and my arms are completely torched as well. I sprayed them, but they were exposed for far too long, so I'm dealing with that. Sunburn is actually the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, it's not good for you. Not good. Not what you want. So okay, so there's that. Patrick,
I didn't watch much. I watched a lot of NASCAR yesterday.
Did you?
My whole family watched a lot of NASCAR yesterday. I don't know. I left before the end of the race, but we put it on to nap and then just ended up watching 2.5 hours of NASCAR, something like that. It was wild.
Okay. All right. So that would be, NASCAR this past weekend, again, the Belmont Stakes, all these little things. College World Series, big news out of
Daniel Suarez did win. Nice. I found myself pulling for Daniel Suarez.
Yes. Yeah, he won. I kind of kept an eye on it and watched. Although I've got to admit, this will be the week I get back into the movie theaters and at some point go see Jurassic.
Did you hear the reviews?
I've heard they're not particularly.
I've heard it's terrible.
Yeah, I've heard they're not particularly good, especially compared to Top Gun, which just I got a feeling everything's going to be compared to Top Gun all summer, and that blew so many things out of the water right off the bat that it's going to be hard for anything to live up to Top Gun. So
I was reading lots of reviews of Jurassic Park, and the worst ones were like, yeah, it's sad because the first Jurassic Park was great because the graphics were still the best because they built an animatronic dinosaur. This one, they just rely on CGI, and they relied on the fact that they were going to be cool dinosaurs, and they didn't feel like they actually had to write a story.
Interesting. All right. All I'm looking for is closure to the to
series.
the Jurassic World Series. Yeah, where we're at, like how they close all this, because I'm assuming that's one of the big things for me is seeing how they end up closing all that out. So that'll be a later in the week thing for me as I'll get back into the movie theaters. But we'll talk about a lot here this morning. The College World Series is almost set, 6 of the 8 teams. But Patrick, the big storyline of the weekend, Tennessee goes home, and it felt like there was just everybody enjoying in the number 1 national seed with an incredible season. But we talked about it, they'd kind of become the villain of college baseball. They were a program that really, outside of Knoxville, had kind of become despised. And their attitude of, just bleep you basically to everybody finally rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And Notre Dame takes them down this past weekend in Knoxville in the Super Regional. And that was one thing that made everybody I noticed on Twitter very happy.
I've never seen college baseball go that viral on Twitter. I mean, everybody was talking about that. It was pretty hilarious. And Notre Dame kind of handled them, didn't they? In the first game, Tennessee blew them out in game 2, right?
Right.
But then Notre Dame took care of business. It was really impressive. I don't know if Notre Dame's underrated. They just had a good series, and that's kind of the problem with baseball is there's a ton of parity, and even so, Tennessee was just so dominant this year. And it has to be thought of as a failure of a season for them, right? Anything short of going to Omaha for a team that good, it has to be a failure, right? It's really hard.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I think I don't think when you have the season that Tennessee did, I hesitate to call it a failure, but certainly the expectation becomes so high.
They almost won 60 games.
Exactly. The expectation becomes so high that it's hard not to label it a failure and say, that you're not going to. I go back to when South Carolina, this was now 22 years ago, South Carolina went 56-10 in college baseball and just took college baseball by storm and just dominated everybody. They had the ridiculous, I think, the 220 some odd game winning streaks back in 2000 and Kip Bulknight and Scott Bauer and I think Peter Bowers, maybe I can't quite remember the Killer Bee pitching lineup there from 22 years ago. But the bottom line is that team, South Carolina, it was such a great dominant run that you didn't want to call it a failure, but it was a shock. I mean, I remember when they lost to Louisiana Lafayette in game 3 that particular year. And as time has gone on, because South Carolina's experienced so much success, that you kind of look at that as more of the stepping stone for how Ray Tanner and the baseball program got to where they went, where they were at about 7 or 8 years ago. And with all that being said, we'll see what Tennessee does. But the one thing about Tennessee is they weren't like a feel-good story. That's not one where, and that might be where people are far more willing to give them the failure or the bust label, is that people, I think, wanted Tennessee open themselves up to now being to taking shots from media and fans because of the way they acted, the way they treated some other players, some other teams, the way they just kind of generally went about doing business. And now's the opportunity for a lot of people to come back and basically say, look, now here's your dose of medicine. You take the middle fingers as we round the bases.
It was crazy because everyone loved it. Everyone, that's good for college baseball, though, right? It's good to have a villain. I didn't think it was going to be Tennessee because they haven't won a national championship in how long? I don't even know. But you were. I mean, I do think all of that buzz has to be just good for the sport overall. I think it probably would have gotten better ratings for the College World Series if Tennessee was in it because people would be cheering against them. But it was still awesome to see, and I wish it was a team, not a Notre Dame. I wish it was like a true underdog or like a smaller school, but it is what it is. And now, for me, the College World Series did get less interesting though.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because I like it's nice to have the villain. It's like in the NCAA tournament. Like this Tennessee team's kind of like Gonzaga. Not that Gonzaga was a villain, but they're so good in the regular season, just can't win that national championship. And you have to say, it's hard to tell a team that they went to the Final Four in their seasons of failure, but that's kind of how it's felt for Gonzaga for the last 3 to 5 years. And that's just how it's going to feel for Tennessee. And it's not that's the number one storyline in college baseball right now is that Tennessee team. And now we've just lost that before Omaha.
Lost in all this is that the SEC, 6 teams have punched their ticket to the College World Series as things stand now. Tennessee, not one of those. That would have made it, had Tennessee gotten in, it would have been a truly heavy dose of SEC. But you've got Arkansas knocking off North Carolina. Arkansas is in. They await the winner of Stanford, Connecticut. Mississippi defeated Southern Mississippi. They're in. They're awaiting the winner of Auburn, Oregon State. And on the other side of the bracket, we'll just go ahead and claim them. How about this? Oklahoma already in the College World Series. They're going to take on SEC, Texas A&M, and Texas. Yeah, we'll go ahead and claim Texas as well. Texas and Notre Dame there in that portion of the bracket. So you got right now 3 current SEC members already in the College World Series, a chance for one more in the Auburn Tigers. And then we'll just go ahead this morning here because it's summertime and most people aren't listening and we can get away with it. Texas and Oklahoma, we'll claim them as well. So 5 is what we'll do with that and take pride in that. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. Eddie says, am I shallow for celebrating Tennessee losing out? No, Eddie, you're with a lot of people. A lot of people are feeling pretty happy today. I don't know if it changes the dynamics of watching the College World Series. I don't know if the College World Series, you're right, Patrick, we are in a little bit more baseball-centric town, even though South Carolina obviously not performing very well at all this year. But I don't know if Tennessee necessarily changed the viewing habits of a lot of people in terms of the College World Series. But, yeah, no, Eddie, you're not shallow. You're a regular baseball fan, I feel like, this morning. Alan saying, told y'all the number 1 seed rarely wins the College World Series. I think 1999 was the last time the number 1 seed made it all the way. And again, Ron from Lake Marion saying, overjoyed that Tennessee is out. Rocky Flop is alive and well. Ron from Lake Marion. So everybody's up and doing well this morning. Got an opportunity to weigh in if you'd like. 803-404-6100. And again, Travis, Anthony joining us on the live stream. You can go and be a part of that. We come back. Steph Curry, Patrick. Steph Curry basically single-handedly carrying the Warriors to a Game 5 with the series being even. It was one of the better performances I've ever seen as he pours in 43 points. We'll talk about the Friday night game that took place in Boston. Golden State looked like they were up against the ropes with 5 minutes to go, but they found a way to win 107-97, and Golden State evens the series. That Game 5 will be tonight at 9 o'clock. You got a lot you can weigh in on this morning if you want to be a part. Again, 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
On the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Monday edition of the Extra Point, we'll talk to Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central to get a sense for how all the official visits, and there were a lot of them taking place on South Carolina's campus this weekend, how they went, some guys that are maybe leaning now South Carolina that weren't before, and maybe a few guys that are ready to commit here in the next couple of weeks. Plus, we'll talk about the NBA Finals. That is, unless the Boston Celtics have won it in 5 games. If they win Friday and Sunday, I will probably not be here Monday because I will probably have retired forever because I can't handle Boston sports fans. With that in mind, hoping to have a chance to talk to Mikey Uva about Boston sports, assuming that Golden State's swung the series and they're up 3-2 now. All that and more on the Extra Point.
The Extra Point,
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon,
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Getting out, taking a summer vacation, it's fun. You just got to have a reliable vehicle to get you from point A to point B, whether it's to the beach, to the mountains, to grandmother's house, to father's house, because just FYI, this coming Sunday, Father's Day. Whatever you're going, whatever you're about to do, you need a reliable vehicle. And at Love Chevrolet, they provide those, and they do it with the best customer service of anywhere here in the state. I can promise you that. Love Chevrolet is number 1 in terms of selection in vehicles. They have the largest selection, 14 acres of brand new Chevys. They're great in terms of deals that they can work with you on, the $1,000 low price guarantee where you can shop other dealerships and take their deal back to the folks that Love Chevrolet, and they'll top it or write you a check for $1,000, which has not happened yet, won't be happening anytime soon. But again, I always talk about the reason that Love Chevrolet stands out to me, the reason that I enjoy being a part of the Love Chevy family is because of the way they treat their customers. From the second you drive on the lot looking for that brand new car, truck, or SUV, from the time you drive off satisfied with your purchase. Purchasing a car these days, it's a pretty big deal. It's going to cost you a chunk of money. And let's be honest, you want to feel comfortable with what you buy. And the folks that Love Chevrolet, the experience they've had, it's why they continue to service the Midlands even after 60 years of business. It's because they treat you the right way. They take care of you. They're courteous. They make sure they answer all your questions with knowledge and help you make the right informed decision on that new vehicle. So go see Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. You can even pre-shop on the internet. That's right. You can go on the internet, check out that incredible selection of vehicles, and you can talk to a seasoned professional right over the internet. Maybe find something you're looking for there. So again, what stands out to me about Love Chevrolet and why I encourage you to go visit them the next time you're looking for a car, truck, or SUV is the incredible people. That's what makes Love Chevrolet a family. It's what makes Love Chevrolet the absolute best in the business is the family, the customer service, and the way they're going to treat you from the time you come on the lot to the time you leave. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
And just one accident to report this morning. That is going to be on Bluff Road and Industrial Boulevard. Again, one accident in Columbia, Bluff Road and Industrial Boulevard.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Push may be coming to shove for Roger Goodell. Congress has requested that he testify at a June 22nd hearing as part of its ongoing investigation into the Washington Commanders' toxic workplace culture and the NFL's reaction, or cover-up depending on how you look at it, to its own investigation. The commissioner isn't compelled to cooperate, but it appears damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
You could unlock more cash than you realize from your home's equity with a cash-out refinance today. In the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. And with Rocket Mortgage, you can unlock thousands in less than 3 weeks. But you've got to act right now before rates go up. So when you're looking to unlock the cash in your home, Rocket can. Call 833-8-ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started. Rocket. Rates current as of 12/12/21. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
It's so sticky.
At Hannah's Organic Honey, business may be sweet, but they need an e-commerce queen bee to lead the hive.
Okay, these jars are going to Jakarta. Oh, wait a minute. Does that say Jackson?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Sponsored by eBay Motors.
Ray Magliozzi here. I'd like to carry more parts, but I barely have room to think in my garage. Luckily, eBay Motors has all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. Can't imagine stocking that many parts. Where would I get all those shelves? eBay Motors. Let's ride.
SC Department of Corrections is hiring correctional officers statewide. Officers must be at least 18 years old and have a high school diploma or GED. $7,500 sign-on bonuses, unlimited paid overtime, and great employee benefits are available. Visit joinscdc.com for more info.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, I go to work, getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience.
I didn't see that. Yeah, East Carolina and Texas. Yeah. Not surprised, Travis. I'm pretty sure Lane Kiffin had multiple tweets just ready to go. Morning, Anthony. Will. David. DC. Larry, good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. I need to clean out this portion of my bag here. I got masks. Crap. It's a 2018 gift card to Chick-fil-A. I wonder if this is still good. Good morning, LeVar.
Game.
6:22 on a Monday morning, June the 13th. Again, if you want to be a part of the program, 803-404-6100, or you can hop on our live stream. A couple more people hopping up and at them here on a Monday morning. Craig, Robin, LeVar, Larry, all hopping in. Casey saying the audacity of East Carolina fans to throw horns down when down 10-1 last night. So, yeah, it's a big night in college baseball. It was also, Patrick, a big weekend for Shane Beamer and South Carolina, hosting 13 official visitors on campus this past weekend for the start of their hot official visit summer. Be a busy next couple weeks, and South Carolina goes out and is able to reel in a couple commitments yesterday afternoon from a couple prized recruits that they were after. Kelton Henderson, 4-star wide receiver out of Lehigh Acres, Florida, 5'11", 172 pounds, commits to Justin Stepp and Shane Beamer. He will be a wide receiver. I believe he is called off the rest of his visits. He was expected to visit Michigan this coming weekend, but he chooses South Carolina over several others, including Auburn and Texas, who had recently offered him. Henderson considered more of a speed wide receiver. He also participates in track and field and actually qualified for Florida's 3A state track meet in the long jump, where he placed 6th. So, Patrick, you got a young guy here, South Carolina, Justin Stepp. Wide receiver is maybe the most interesting position for the Gamecock football team this coming season because of the transition with Juice Wells, with Corey Rucker, even with a Landon Sampson, who we kind of thought was going to have to play a larger role, but now they've gone out through the transfer portal and been able to land a couple guys.
Henderson's definitely the top recruit. I mean, he's the highest rated of there are 4. Do we know who the 4th was yet?
No, we don't. Three have announced.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Upshaw and then Cox and then Henderson. So yeah, I mean, a speed receiver is a nice element to have. He's listed as an athlete, so Justin Stepp going to be able. I think you're also confident in whatever raw talent you bring onto campus. Justin Stepp being able to mold into something great. I mean, he's probably, most people would probably vote for him as the best position coach at South Carolina. So doing some big time work, and yeah, it's going to be a transitional year. We don't know. We've talked a lot about the wide receiver group. It's probably the most unknown group just because there's you could go up to 6, 7 guys that you just don't know how many of them are going to be week to week parts of the offense. You have a bunch of different styles, and it's mostly going to be up to who meshes well with Spencer Rattler. And right now, from everything we've heard in the spring game and leading up to that, it's going to be Juice Wells, but we'll just see going forward who can take the next step. And Landon Sampson's now on campus. He wasn't there early. He didn't enroll early. Right. So we didn't really get to see him or hear about how he was going to fit in, but stylistically, him in the slot, Juice Wells on the outside, and then Josh Vann on the outside just seems to be what is going to be the logical starting point. But it's going to be Josh Vann's last year. Juice Wells has a couple more years left, maybe 2, maybe 3. I'm not even sure how many it is. He's a sophomore and with a free year and just 2 years.
I believe he's actually draft eligible.
He's draft eligible, but how many years could he stay?
Yeah, I believe he's technically a sophomore. I believe. To answer your question, say technically again that stupid COVID year, which
exactly
is going to throw us off. But yeah, I believe he is considered a sophomore by class. Where yes, he could actually have 3 more years if I'm correct on that. We'll look.
But
that
essentially,
up.
Josh Vann's the only one you're definitely losing this year.
Well, yes,
that's going to play a major role.
I mean, to answer your question, it's hard to say because, well, I'm interested to see who steps up at the wide receiver position because it is interesting when you talk about South Carolina there. Josh Vann had a very productive year and was really, really good. And again, I don't know how we want to classify Jaheim Bell. It's hard for me to say that Jaheim Bell is a tight end. I don't know if that wide back term that I believe Deebo Samuel has made up for himself fits Jaheim Bell. But you've got Jaheim Bell and you've got Josh Vann, both proven production players that did it at a very high level. You know my affinity for Amarion Brown, who I think has a chance to maybe continue to step up there. You've got Wells. Xavier Legette is a guy that a lot of people seem to believe could make some strides. And again, Landon Sampson. And I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out. The Carry-On Joyner is another guy. And it's kind of crazy that South Carolina goes from where last year it was really unproven to this year, where you do have some guys that maybe you feel a little bit better about. Look,
Jalen Brooks.
I was about to say him is back, and it'll be very interesting. Let's just go with that. Travion Kenyon, by the way, is a guy who only had 4 receptions last year, but I thought might have been, again, I don't know where you want to lay. Travion Kenyon might have been the second best tight end behind Jaheim Bell, ahead of Nick Muse. I know Muse got drafted. I know Muse had 20 catches. Kenyon had a couple that were pretty impressive. He only had 4, but I kind of like him a little bit and think he's
so large.
He's a guy that could step up and be more of a piece of the puzzle. So South Carolina continues to develop that wide receiver room. And again, yesterday, Kelton Henderson, a 5'11", 175-pound athlete, but will be a wide receiver out of Lehigh Acres, Florida, rated by 24/7 Sports as a 4-star prospect, the number 287th prospect in the country, commits to South Carolina. The Gamecocks also picked up 2 other public commitments yesterday. I've given up on trying to follow how many are silent commitments that Shane Beamer has tweeted out welcome home to, but you mentioned Connor Cox, 6'5", 220-pound tight end out of Jacksonville, Florida, the Bowles School down there. Cox, again, a young man that comes in and made multiple visits to campus, and he chooses South Carolina yesterday over a couple other offers, Boston College, Appalachian State among those. Big kid, 6'5", again, 220 pounds. Got injured last year playing for Bowles School, only played in 5 games, caught 7 passes for 148 yards. So he's a kid who still has a lot of developing to do because of that injury. And the final, at least public commitment yesterday, Cameron Upshaw, 6'2", 185-pound safety, chooses South Carolina over Arkansas and Maryland, amongst others. He's out of Perry, Florida, at Taylor County High School. Again, a young man, 6'2 and a half, 185 pounds, did have some other good offers. We'll see kind of how it all works out. But South Carolina adds to their recruiting class yesterday with 3 public commitments, 1 welcome home that is still to be announced. And then there was some movement as well. Dylan Longren, the quarterback, number 10 quarterback in the country, took his official visit to South Carolina this weekend, Patrick, and he comes out and says July 5th. He's going to make his official announcement on where he's going. South Carolina, Alabama, Stanford, Ohio State, all 4 of those considered to be in the running for his services.
I think Henderson is one of the big additions to this class because people want those positions with flair, the sexy offensive positions. So now you've got a receiver. That's really the next thing. We're a couple weeks away from that. If you can get the quarterback, you can really start building this class around it, and people will get really excited. I think people get excited when there's just random splurges of 4 commits in one day. That just gets people excited. But you need those big names and those high-profile, high-impact positions too. So everybody's got July 5th circled, and I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about it as it goes forward. But has he taken all of his visits? Do you know? And he's just waiting, Lonergan?
I feel like he's got one. I think he's going to Stanford, if I'm correct. I have to go back and look. I don't have his visit schedule right in front of me. He's one that we're watching. And then this coming Wednesday, Putnam County safety Jalen Kilgore, who apparently is a prospect and talking with people, is going to shoot up the rankings a little bit, will make an announcement. He took an official visit to South Carolina over the weekend, and it's between Oklahoma and Brent Venables and South Carolina and Clayton White there for the 3-star safety out of Georgia. Jalen Kilgore, another name, 6'2", 185-pound safety that South Carolina really wants as part of this class. So a little bit of recruiting news. We'll get into some NBA talk. If you want to ask a question or get involved in a little recruiting, 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. You're listening to Bill Gunner and Patrick Pratt. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's
30 for 30.
The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years.
Number 30, quarterback Steven Garcia.
Gamecocks win. Garcia with a brilliant game.
Number 29, running back Mike Davis.
That Georgia fella can run. Good gracious.
Number 28, defensive back J.C. Horn.
Now Nick throws into traffic, and it's intercepted. There's J.C. Horn again making a play.
Number 27, wide receiver, Brian Edwards.
And with that touchdown reception of 23 yards, Brian Edwards has become the all-time leader in receiving yards at South Carolina.
Number 26, defensive back, Sheldon Brown.
Reese swings it out to Bush, and the ball is knocked away, and an incomplete pass. And a crunching hit put on by Sheldon Brown. And Bush takes a while to get up.
It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30.
The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5
The Game.
It's heartburn. It's going to try and ruin our vacation.
Don't worry. I pack Prilosec OTC. One pill in the morning prevents excess acid production that can cause frequent heartburn.
Nice. Aloha, heartburn.
Block heartburn from your summer bucket list with Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Don't wait until you have heartburn to start Prilosec OTC. Kick your summer off right and look for Prilosec OTC at Walmart or Walmart.com.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches, weakness, or discomfort in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve.
I feel like pole vaulting is I don't know. I'm sitting here watching this ESPN thing on these women pole vaulters and trying to get the pole in the ground at the right point to be able to, because isn't there like a little hole, kind of a little that you got to get it down into to.
Yeah, there's like a slot in the ground.
1 million people use Nevada to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthy. I'm Martin Hill.
Player that has left for any player that would ever consider leaving. Have you ever had?
Doctors have to say about Nevada.
I do apologize for being a member of the PGA Tour.
Most airborne allergies.
This weekend was the first time I've ever seen Jay Monahan. I had no idea what he looked like.
Yeah, I keep wanting to say. I always have to be careful when we talk about the PGA because I keep wanting to say Tim Fitchum, the former
commissioner.
Commissioner. So I've had to be careful about that. Larry, I think the offensive line is going to be better. I don't know if it'll be top 4 in the league, but I really do think that the offensive line will be better this year.
Been, I guess you could say, a very eventful week for the game. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. What about this week? Well, first of all, it's great to.
Yeah, I got to agree, Travis. I'm excited to see Amarion Brown, just see what he can do. There's pieces there for Stafford's offense to be a lot more dangerous. Yeah, you are correct, David. Yeah, Brooks is back.
Rory McIlroy made less than 33% of what Charles Schwartzel got.
Did he?
He got 1.5, and Charles Schwartzel got what, 4.75?
Yeah, I was reading some things about that. Just it's kind of hard to figure out how much they exactly got because of the team stuff, but you're probably about in that ballpark, right?
Yeah, he got 4.75 combined for the individual and team contests.
Yeah, okay. There you go. Wells is listed as a junior.
Thanks, Dad.
Talking to the bourbon, sweetie.
Love what you find. Like a perfect gift for Dad.
But he is a sophomore. Wells, you're right. Wells was a freshman in 2020, so he technically gets that year back. He has 3 years of eligibility remaining.
Your home a little TLC too. Get annoying repairs like lifting a sunken sidewalk or waterproofing a humid basement out of the way, so you can return to a stable home. At Mount Valley Foundation Services, we offer permanent solutions to your foundation problems. Our crew will evaluate your property for free. Careful to look everywhere an issue may be found. Trust us for foundation repairs. Just visit fixmyfoundation.com. Set up your no obligation inspection today.
Foundation Services. Rock solid foundation. What we're talking about on 107 at the Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
$6:37 on a Monday morning, June the 13th. Bill Gunner, Patrick Barrett, cruising along here. 105 game coming up in about 35 minutes. We'll get you player number 55 there on our countdown of the top 30 players of the SEC era, the top 30 again. So you heard us kind of there going into that break, give you the breakdown of last week with Steven Garcia, Mike Davis. See, doing this kind of off the top of my head, J.C. Horn, 20, and Ryan Edwards and Sheldon Brown. How about that? I remembered. Nice.
Solid.
Yes, very good. So this morning will be a little bit more of a new, what I would call a new era. I think you break down South Carolina into pre-Steve Spurrier and post-Steve Spurrier is kind of how I would assess the Gamecocks is pre-Spurrier or in the SEC. Pre-Spurrier, post-Spurrier. This would be a post, or today will be a post-Spurrier. When I say post-Spurrier, I just mean like 2005, from 92 to 2005 when Spurrier arrived, and then 2005 to really where we're at today. Different eras of football.
So we have BS before Spurrier. We're living in the AS after Spurrier era.
Yeah, it's because the one thing Spurrier did show that South Carolina could have success in the SEC. That with the right guy in place, the right resources in place, everything coming together. And there needs to be, again, when I say everything coming together, you got to have Georgia be a little bit down. You got to have Florida be a little bit down. But when everything comes together, South Carolina can be competitive, not just in the SEC, but obviously with Clemson. And so there is a different mentality, a different mindset of the South Carolina football fan as we sit here in 2022, as opposed to 2004 pre-Spurrier. But the player that will come in today that we'll talk about will be post 2000.
I thought you were just going to say his name.
No.
The player we're going to talk about today will be blank.
Yeah, no, he will be a post 2005 player. So we'll get you that here coming up at about 7:15 this morning. Again, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100, how you can join us and be a part of the program. Again, the NBA Game 5 tonight, Warriors and Celtics in Golden State, or at Golden State out in California. 9 o'clock tip time, which is just, this has just gotten ridiculous with these tip times here.
Why? I don't know why they were so against playing it on Sunday evening.
Yeah, I found that kind of strange. The travel time, I mean, obviously you'd have had the 1 day travel, but that's not like a major issue. So I'm not real sure why they did Monday to give them 2 days of travel. Doesn't matter. We'll see what happens tonight. But Steph Curry, Patrick, on Friday night, absolutely phenomenal. 43 points for Steph. Jason Tatum with 23. But Curry basically wheeled Golden State to a victory. He got a little bit of help from Klay Thompson, who added in 18. Draymond Green continues to just, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing out there. Like, he's in his own head. The trash talking is backfired. He was more productive. He did have 9 rebounds and he had 8 assists on Friday night. So he wasn't the complete bum that he was in game 3. But yeah, Draymond Green right now is offering very little in the way of offense there for the Warriors. And Steph Curry had to shoot 14 of 26, 7 of 14 from 3-point range, and make 8 out of 9 free throws. Should also be noted, Steph Curry had 10 rebounds, 43 points, 10 rebounds, and Andrew Wiggins was really good on Friday night, 17 points and 16 rebounds. Continues to play really good defense on Tatum or whoever he gets matched up on.
It was the Steph show. I don't know how many more times he's capable of doing that, but every game that they win, Steph's going to have to score 35 points at this point. I don't know where you're leaning for tonight, but
I'm going back and forth because I do want to pick the Warriors 7, but I also feel like that requires both teams winning at home and then the Warriors both winning out at home. But the Celtics have not lost after a loss. They're 7-0 off of losses that I heard in this playoff, just the longest streak in NBA playoff history. So I don't know if I can pick against that sort of trend and pick the Warriors to win 2 in a row to set themselves up to potentially win this finals. I don't know if I can do it. But also, it seems unlikely for Boston to come in and win Golden State again, and then Golden State to go back and win in Boston again to set it in Game 7.
Boston, in my opinion, kind of fell apart on Friday night. They had every opportunity. Marcus Smart hit the 3-pointer right around the 5-minute mark, and they were up 94-90. I was watching down in Santee at the little golf outing we had with all the guys, and they go up 4 with 5 minutes to go, and it looks like Boston's going to hold on and win the game. It's 94-90, and in a very similar fashion to Game 1, in which Golden State had the lead, and it was Boston who I think outscored them 20-5 or something like that over the final 4 or 5 minutes. 94-90, and Golden State outscores them 17-3 coming down the stretch to take what was a 4-point deficit and turn it into a 10-point win. So I kind of go with the fact I still think Boston. I really now have come around to Boston's probably the better team.
I agree.
They just gagged away the last 5 minutes of that game, which if they lose the series, that's going to be where you go back and see it. They're at home. Everybody's behind them. It looks like they're going to roll. Smart hits the 3-pointer. Again, I think it was right at the 5-minute mark because they had a 4-point lead with 5 minutes to go. It looks like they're going to roll on, and then they crumble. They score 3 points the remainder of the way. Golden State gets hot. They score 17. Again, it was a 17-3 run to close out the final 5 minutes of the game, and Golden State evens up the series. And it was kind of a shocker because I really thought Boston was going to be in complete control and go on to win that game. We'll talk more about that this morning. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next halftime show. Hey guys, Jay and Terry coming up on the Monday halftime show. We'll recap what's going on in the Super Regionals. We've got Gamecock hometown player number 25, 30 in the SEC era. It's been a fun first week. And I know who all first. Well, as far as we know, George Rogers, Steve Wadiak. Hey, Terry and Thompson. You're home on the Gamecocks.
Look at the weather report lately. Familiar with what's kind of coming down the pipe because living in Columbia, South Carolina, it gets a tad steam if you're not paying attention, especially in June. So let me give you what I will refer to as the place heating air weather report right now, because your air conditioner better be working today. 100 degrees, triple digits. Tomorrow, 102. Triple digits. Wednesday, 100 degrees. Thursday, 100 degrees. Friday, 101. Get the point? Hot. Your air conditioner better be working. I've been telling you for months to get AAA heating air out to your house to make sure you get that heating and air unit, get a little maintenance to it. And guess what? If you haven't listened and now you're about to be worried this week, you can still get in touch with AAA Heating and Air today to get them out for a pre-summer maintenance package for new customers. $49. 803-677-1500. Again, that's 803-677-1500. That's how you get AAA Heating and Air. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Right now, a pre-summer maintenance package for just $49 for a new customer. And if you're in the market for a brand new heating and air, you need to get one of those. AAA Heating and Air has the absolute best deals around. They have a pre-summer sale going on still. $1,500 system buyback, instant rebate. 0% interest for 60 months to well-qualified buyers. And how about this? A 15-year part and labor warranty that is absolutely transferable. All the great reasons you should be calling AAA Heating and Air today. 803-677-1500. I'll even give you one more reason. How about this? If you're worried about your credit and you're trying to get approved for a brand new unit and you need a little bit of financing, you again think the credit's not good enough, AAA Heating and Air guarantees financing. That's right. Even if your credit is shot, AAA Heating and Air is going to work with you. So don't let these next several days triple-digit heat get to you. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Get them out to your house. Get either the pre-summer maintenance inspection package or get yourself a brand new heating and air unit that you would definitely be happy with. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
And still mostly clear in the Midlands. The only accident I'm seeing that's still being cleaned up is the same one from earlier on Bluff Road. It's going to be Bluff Road and Industrial Boulevard. Got an accident in progress there again. That's Bluff Road and Bluff Industrial Boulevard.
Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer. You've heard the latest news, traffic, and weather. But there's something else you should hear. Consider getting a COVID-19 booster, as recommended by the CDC. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
You do not want to miss this. Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning huge summer sale is going on now. 15% off all cleaning services, carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, and even air ducts, all 15% off. Use promo code SUMMERSALE at ZerustColumbia.com. Zerust, the right way to clean.
Uneven sidewalks, pool decks, or patios? Canty can repair them for just a fraction of the cost of replacement. Call Canty Foundation Specialists today for your free estimate.
Uneven concrete can be a dangerous tripping hazard leading to injury. Call the experts at Canty to permanently repair your sinking or cracked concrete. Call 753-1495 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com. Canty can fix it.
Summer is finally here, and that means enjoying the evenings, enjoying the afternoons a little bit more. Sometimes you don't have quite as much time for sleep, so you need a great bed to help you get a fantastic night of sleep when you choose to go to bed. With Sleep Number, that's exactly what I get. Bill Gunner for Sleep Number. I'll put that Sleep Number setting on 45, and I'll wake up rested, refreshed, and ready to go each and every morning. Up and at 'em early to handle Jen and Patrick here on a Sports Talk Show. We need to do the same. Why choose proven quality? Because every great place works the night before. And now, don't miss Sleep Number's weekend special. Save up to $100 on select Sleep Number 360 smart beds plus special financing and free home delivery when you add a base. Until ends Monday, June 14th, and it's only at a Sleep Number store. Two to choose from. One in Irmo on Harvesting Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia, 294 across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit on the web, sleepnumber.com. All this, subject to credit approval, minimum monthly payments required. See sleepnumber.com for details. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
How does a car repair shop last in business for over 50 years like Sudduth Automotive? By providing affordable, reliable, and honest auto repair. If you ask them, they'll tell you it's their loyal customers who come back time and time again to entrust them with their car repairs. Well-trained technicians, service packages, and monthly specials. Isn't it time you became a customer? Call or come by at 1410 North Millwood Avenue or make an appointment at SudduthAuto.com.
It's the Love Chevrolet countdown to Gamecock football.
82 days till kickoff.
Why buy just any old used car when you can have the advantages of the Love Chevy certified pre-owned? See yours today. Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison, between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Farm, and at LoveChevy.com. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, and Jen Jensen.
on your home, of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
Where the money comes from is not something that
And
wrapping up our number one of the early game.
been a little bit all over the place this morning. Pretty good
weekend of sports. I wouldn't call it a great weekend of sports.
I got into NASCAR yesterday for a while. Indian Square won that race. I had a good time watching that race, actually. Sonoma was a cool course. I've never sat down and watched a road course NASCAR race, but I actually did enjoy some of the views of wine country. We got into South Carolina recruiting, of course. It was a huge day yesterday. Shane Beamer and company. 4 commits. They got 4 welcome homes yesterday. The biggest of which was wide receiver Kelton Henderson. He's now the top-rated recruit in South Carolina's 2023 class. He joins 4 other Gamecocks. 2 of them committed yesterday. Connor Cox, a tight end from the Bowles School in Jacksonville, and Cameron Upshaw, a safety from Taylor County High School. All 3 of these kids coming from the state of Florida. Don't know if the fourth one will also be. We have one more unannounced commitment from yesterday. They'll join Zabari Sandy from DC, St. John's from DC, and Travon Ball. And Sandy is a safety as well. Travon Ball is an offensive lineman from the state of Georgia, Atlanta, to be exact. So pretty good day yesterday. Kelton Henderson becomes a top-rated recruit. He is a 4-star. He is a 287th player nationally, number 19 ranked athlete in the country. So a dynamic, speed sort of receiver. He's 5'11", 175. So you're expecting some big speed that also runs track. Connor Cox, 6'5", 220, good size for a tight end. And then Cameron Upshaw, 6'2.5", 185. Not sure how heavy he'll be able to get once he gets in the program, but that's good length for a safety as well. So looking good there. Baseball, huge news out of college baseball with Tennessee getting taken down by Notre Dame. I saw some rumors that, or some talk that Notre Dame had been underseeded anyway. They were a good team and had to go to Knoxville, which a lot of people did not agree with. I don't know anything about the selection process in college baseball, but I know apparently NC State got screwed. Notre Dame got screwed apparently, but they made most of it. They went in Knoxville and took down the number one team in the country, team that won 57 games this year. Just a ridiculous season for Tennessee. And after being the villains all year long, Notre Dame just takes them down. So if you want to get into any of that, 803-404-6100 is the number to the Love Chevrolet phone lines. Also is the number for the Cool Care Heating and Air text lines. And you can also join us on the live stream. You can go to YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter and just look up 1075 The Game. You can find us there. I didn't pay too much attention over the weekend to golf, but it is an interesting weekend with the Live Tour opening up. I watched a little bit of that on Thursday when it teed off the shotgun start. And Charles Schwartzel wins the first ever Live tournament in London, banks $4 million for winning that tournament. Also got another $750,000 on top of it for winning the team competition. And then on the other side, RBC Canadian Open, Rory McIlroy wins that after an awkward weekend on the PGA Tour. There was weird videos of Jay Monahan talking with Jim Nantz and Rory McIlroy. I want to play a little bit of his press conference after the round because he took a little bit of a dig at Greg Norman as well. So here's Rory McIlroy after the round.
What does this win in this scene mean to you?
Yeah, it's incredible. Playing with Tony and JT today, two of the top players in the world, and all of us playing the way we did. I mean, I think the worst score of the group was 6 under par. Yeah, this is a day I'll remember for a long, long time. 21st PGA Tour win, one more than someone else. That gave me a little bit of extra incentive today, and I'm happy to get it done.
So that one more than someone else, Rory McIlroy just passed Greg Norman, who's obviously the CEO or chairman or whatever of Live Tour. The main guy that set up Live Tour, Greg Norman. But now Rory McIlroy is one tournament above him. And this is just going to be interesting to follow all summer long. Every time they're head-to-head, I guess it's U.S. Open week, so that's a little bit – that's going to be a little bit different, but it's going to make some of the sound bites this weekend awesome. I'll see how these guys interact, but if you watch Rory's face and listen to the way he's talking about it, he definitely does harbor some resentment over these guys leaving. Jay Monahan made weird comments with Jim Nantz saying, and then his line that made waves was, "Have you ever had to apologize for being on the PGA Tour?" That was his message to the guys that are on the Live Tour. But I just don't know that they care. Rory McIlroy, he made $1.5 million. You mentioned JT and Tony Finau. That's who was finishing up with him. Those were the top three finishers. Tony Finau comes in second place, makes $948,000. Justin Thomas makes $600,000. That's a really good payday. But all three of those guys is not as much as Charles Schwartzel just made for winning the Live Tour. The money is just stupid. It's just to another level. And I just looked down the leaderboard, and some of these guys that are good players that could be making probably $50 million are playing 4 rounds and they're just fighting for anything. You look at the bottom, I mean, $17,000 for a guy like Dolly Vanderwald. That was the lowest finisher in the RBC Canadian Open, and that money is just absolutely dwarfed by everybody that came out, played 3 rounds, and didn't get cut from the Live Invitation. I don't even know what the name of that tournament was. But ridiculous. Charles Schwartzel, South African Charles Schwartzel, $4 million to play 54 holes, plus another $750,000 because his teammates did well. Ridiculous. It's going to be fun to follow this U.S. Open coming up, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Maybe we'll talk about that on the show. I want to know how he felt about this weekend. We'll get back into baseball, South Carolina recruiting, NBA Finals tonight. A lot to talk about this morning. Stay with us. It's the early game. 7-5 the game.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
SC Department of Corrections is hiring correctional officers. $7,500 sign-on bonuses, unlimited paid overtime, and great employee benefits. Start a rewarding new career today. Visit joinscdc.com for info. Sponsored by SC Department of Corrections, SCBA, and this station.
Hey, South Carolina, Scott here for Traditions Fine Jewelers. Do you have jewelry you don't wear anymore? You want to put the value of that jewelry to better use? At Traditions, we pay top dollar for gold, silver, and diamonds. And with gold around $1,900 an ounce, you'll be amazed at how much your jewelry might be worth. And if you refuse to repurchase your jewelry to get something new, we'll give you an extra 10% this month towards your new purchase. So don't just sit on jewelry you don't wear anymore. Take advantage of historically high gold prices and get the value you deserve. Only at Traditions Fine Jewelers on Sunset in Lexington. And now in Sandhills, where the Midlands get engaged.
Look, it's heartburn. He's going to try to ruin our vacation.
Don't worry. I pack Prilosec OTC. One pill in the morning prevents excess acid production that can cause frequent heartburn.
Block heartburn from your summer bucket list with Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Don't wait until you have heartburn to start Prilosec OTC. Kick your summer off right and look for Prilosec OTC at Walmart or Walmart.com.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches, weakness, or discomfort in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 selling nerve care company. Nervive contains alpha-lipoic acid to
All right, I figured out how to fix the reverb. We'll be good. We'll be good going forward.
with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com.
SCMEP is now offering SCMEP Online, a new online training portal that offers flexibility and convenience. As manufacturing evolves, new processes are making manufacturers more efficient. SCMEP Online now offers a learning path in additive manufacturing, a rapidly growing industry that allows for fast prototyping as well as end-use products. Don't be left behind. Visit scmep-online.org for more information. Because business is always evolving. Are you? SCMEP is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization sponsored by SCMEP in cooperation with the South Carolina Broadcasters Association and this station.
You don't get to be the league's all-time leading rusher without feeling some pain.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith knows joint pain, and he also knows the old treatments aren't the only treatments. Today, there's a natural alternative to drugs and surgery. It's biologic therapies from QC Kinetics.
I'm talking regenerative solutions that encourage your body to heal and repair itself.
Do you have pain in your hips, knees, shoulder, lower back? Want to get your life back? The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics can help.
Call to learn more about this exciting natural way to deal with chronic joint pain.
Don't put it off. Call QC Kinetics. Restorative regenerative solutions with no downtime and lasting results.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love. There's a new natural solution that patients are raving about.
QC Kinetics.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. 803-281-6860.
The early game with Bill Gunter.
A traditional pool party for the NASCAR Pick'em winner. That would be pretty cool. I mean, you think about it, it would be me and me.
Patrick Perret and Jen Jensen.
Well, what better party?
Oh, yeah. You, your ego, and your second ego.
I mean, that would be a great party. That would be so much fun. Those are the people that I love the most.
Because I love me some me.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
I love me some me. I can't stand myself.
107.5.
Let me finish, Bill.
The Game.
$7 a.m. on a Monday morning, June the 13th. And again, you heard me read that weather report. Patrick getting sunburned over the weekend because he was on the lake with his parents. But you heard me read the weather report just a little while ago for what's coming up this week. Make sure that everybody is nice and hydrated. The dogs and the cats are taken care of this week. 100 degrees expected to be the high today, 102 tomorrow here in Columbia because, again, y'all are familiar with the Columbia weather. 101 102 tomorrow, 100 degrees on Wednesday, now 99 on Thursday and Friday. Expected to be right around triple digits again, Patrick. So warm times. That's what we have reached here in the Midlands as summer almost officially ahead of us. I believe a week from tomorrow is what Jen has told us. June 21st is the official start of summertime. But if you go by the weather, it is off and running.
It's
and
too much.
It's
100. You're not supposed to be outside in 100 degrees.
Be in the lake or in the pool.
Not in the sun, though, because, again, the lake felt nice, and now I'm sunburned, and now it's going to be bad for the rest of the day. We took a little walk around downtown Greenwood yesterday, and just being in the hot sun made my sunburn hurt more. Like, it just heats up the rest of your body. You can never get away from it. That's why sunburn is the worst. You can't just, if something's sore, you can maybe, put your leg up or whatever or stretch it out. There's nothing you can do about the sunburn. It just always hurts.
There you go. A man who is terrified of a sunburn, and yet it got him this weekend as he hung out on Lake Greenwood with his family. So stay hydrated out there. Make sure the dogs and the cats as well, and any plants.
Have some aloe on hand. Just be ready.
Just be ready to go now as we officially enter the summer. South Carolina recruiting heating up over the weekend. They get 3 public commitments. Will hits me up and says we actually have 2 unannounced welcome homes. Still waiting on one from January. Yeah, I've given up on trying to fig. Patrick and I have both given up.
I think that person decommitted, and Shane Beamer's just hoping that nobody noticed.
Yeah,
we got a counter that's like, all right, here's all the welcome homes we've got.
It's hard. It's hard to keep up with, but South Carolina did get 3 public commitments,
and they got 3 hashtag above all L23s.
Those are is that what it was? So yeah, you're still stuck on the new slogan for the year, aren't you?
Yeah,
that's okay. That's no problem. Yeah, South Carolina, 3 public commitments again. The highest rated one, 4-star Kelton Henderson, a 5'11", 175-pound wide receiver out of Lehigh Acres, Florida, commits to Shane Beamer in South Carolina over offers from Michigan, Florida State, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, and LSU. They also picked up tight end Connor Cox, 6'5", 220-pound tight end out of the Bowles School in Jacksonville, Florida. You also had him choosing South Carolina over a few other schools such as Maryland, Appalachian State. And then Cameron Upshaw, a 6'2.5", 185-pound safety out of Taylor County High School in Perry, Florida, commits to South Carolina over Arkansas and Maryland this weekend. Seeing Maryland, that's one thing Mike Loxley's he's really trying to expand the Maryland recruiting footprint.
Mm-hmm.
You saw last year Jayshon Barham, that little battle back and forth between South Carolina. We've seen Maryland and South Carolina because South Carolina is also going up into the DMV area and trying to land recruits. You've seen Maryland and Penn State, 2 Northeastern schools. I think you would consider Maryland a Northeastern school. You've seen them go more head-to-head with South Carolina recently for recruits, and South Carolina at least winning 2 of those battles this weekend for Florida prospects.
That's kind of what every Northeastern, not Northeastern, but Maryland, Penn State, those schools that in the surrounding area, everyone is trying to get a stranglehold on the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. There's tons of talent in Baltimore, tons of prep school talent in the DC area. Kids drive from far away. Like Marshawn Lloyd would not be considered a DMV kid, but he went to school at DeMatha Catholic because it's one of the best high schools in the country, and he was driving 2 hours to get to school. So there's just ridiculous prep schools there that have outstanding teams, and no one's ever, Maryland included, fully put a fence around that area and said this area is going to be dominated by Maryland, by Penn State, by South Carolina. So which is why teams like South Carolina, there's a ton of Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey kids at the University of South Carolina just attending school because it's the closest SEC school. It's 8 hours down the road from Maryland, 12 from New Jersey. It's manageable in a one-day drive. And everybody wants to be in the SEC. So it's the closest way for you to get to the SEC, and South Carolina needs to take advantage of that.
They have been a little bit. Billy weighing in on our text line. He said, awesome for the recruits. Glad for the football team. Needed the good news. Lost my dad this weekend, who was a tremendous Clemson fan. Billy, thoughts and prayers with you. I hate to hear that. Anything we can certainly do for you here on this program, this show, let us know. We consider ourselves one big family, and you are more than welcome to hit us up if there's anything we can do for you and your family. So hate to hear that for you, and thoughts and prayers there with you. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. If you want to do so, you can also hop on the live stream. Several of you, Craig, Larry, CW, Robin, all on there and getting ready for another exciting day here of summer for most of the kids and for Robin, who's a teacher. Again, anything you want to weigh in on, 803-404-6100. We've talked Warriors Celtics, little South Carolina football recruiting. Also over the weekend, boy, the PGA and the Live Golf Tour. This might become the rivalry for the back half of 2022, Patrick, as Jay Monahan and Rory McIlroy winning his 21st PGA Tour event. I'm not going to lie. I had zero clue that it was his 21st event, right?
He did, though.
He knew.
Yeah. I played the audio just in the last segment.
Okay, there you go. Sorry, as I had to step away. Yeah. Rory and I had zero clue about it, but as you played the audio and you heard, because I heard it last night, they took great pride in this. And I don't really I'm not real sure. I'm not going to go anti-PGA Tour on this, but I'm not really sure if all the hate and dislike of the Live Golf Tour is worth it. It's very interesting to watch how this is going to evolve. You've got the U.S. Open this coming week. That should be a lot of fun. And there's going to be a ton of questions because now Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, all these guys now have to come back. They got to come back. They got to be around their friends, their buddies. They got to do it.
Charles Schwartzel's going to buy dinner for everybody.
Charles Schwartzel is 4 points. Would you say 4.75?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little richer today than he was, say, on Thursday. But the U.S. Open's this week. But it's going to be absolutely fascinating to hear people have to discuss what's going on right now. Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed became official over the weekend. They'll play at the end of the month up at Pumpkin Ridge in Portland, Oregon, in the next Live Golf tournament. So I guess effectively they're done on the PGA Tour. Patrick, I really don't know what I'm pulling for, what I like, and how where I'm going with this at this moment.
Bitterness
for me, or for the.
That's what I'm pulling for. Is just the most animosity possible. Like I want to see Rory swing at Dustin Johnson, and Rory won't be the guy to do it. I don't think JT will be the guy to do it. As you saw his interview where he said, "I got no resentment towards these guys. I didn't make the same decision, but I don't hate them." I want somebody from the PGA Tour to just get really upset. I want Charles Schwartzel to accidentally drop a bag of money and it just infuriate someone in the middle of the pack on the PGA Tour. Like I want Max Homa to lose his mind.
I do wonder where friendships are in this thing because, you've had a lot of players kind of say, okay, I get it. I understand. But you've got Rory, who's kind of the one coming out now taking shots, and I don't want to say playing teacher's pet toward the PGA, but it is interesting this weekend what you get and what questions Dustin Johnson will get. It'll be interesting what Phil Mickelson will be. Phil Mickelson had to answer questions at the Live Golf Tour, and I think you and I read this on Friday. I believe you read it with me, or it was someone else. That the Live Golf Tour had a pretty strong PR team. And you were kind of limited on what you could say in response at their event. Now, this is not their event, and I don't know if their PR team will be on hand, at the hotel. Just
I'll be watching.
Hey, Phil, you're going to go out there today. You're going to be asked these questions. Let's watch what we say. Here's your scripted answers, because this is the first time that Phil will really have talked to PGA Tour media members since everything has happened. And you got to imagine they're going to want to grill him and get the inside scoop.
They've already asked some tough questions. I mean, I just watched a video of Charles Schwartzel having to answer basically, how does it feel to win $4 million of blood money? It was pretty much the question that he was asked. And his answer was, he gave a little laugh and was like, I don't know, where the money comes from that I win is not really something that I've ever thought about. And it was like, okay, well, if someone just handed me a bag of $4 million, I guess I would say whatever they wanted. It just, but geez, they're asking tough questions. They really are. They're not holding back. And the PGA guys that aren't beholden to the Live Tour at all and are getting nothing out of it, and their job is only getting harder, and the league that they cover is potentially struggling. They're going to be wanting to attack these guys as much as possible. I'm excited to hear what they're going to say.
Monahan said something, Jay Monahan, the commissioner of the PGA, and I've kind of he's defending his tour. I get that. I'm not trying to say what he is saying is incorrect or wrong. But Patrick, what Jay Monahan had to say yesterday during the tournament, it did catch my attention and I wasn't sure how to process it. So let me read you what Monahan said, because then he says those players have chosen to sign multi-year lucrative contracts to play in a series of exhibition matches against the same players over and over again. You look at that versus what we see here today, and that's why they need us so badly. You've got true, pure competition. The best players in the world are here at the RBC Canadian Open with millions of fans watching, and in this game, it's true and pure competition that creates the profile and the presence of the world's greatest players. That's why they need us. That's what we do. We're not going to allow players to free ride off of our loyal members, the best players in the world. Is it an exhibition match? I started putting the Live Golf Tour into it. 50, they'll be at over 50 players. They'll be, I think, at 50 players with DeChambeau and Patrick Reed, if that's what they calls it. Now, I don't know necessarily how many players enter into a golf tournament on a given week. I know there's 125 tour players, but I'm not sure, like say for the RBC Canadian, I've never thought yesterday, I didn't look it up last night to know.
70 people made money.
Right. So I'm thinking it's closer to 120, 140 that go out and play on a weekly basis. But do you buy that, what he says about a series of exhibition matches that they are participating in?
What is any different? Is there not a trophy?
That's what I'm asking.
It's because they're playing for money? I don't understand what he's saying. Like the fact that Dustin now is so rich that he might not have the same passion for the back nine of a now Saturday championship round because he's so rich. It doesn't make any sense. No, it is exactly the same thing as the PGA Tour. It just doesn't have the same history or prestige that some of the PGA Tour. Like who cares about winning the RBC Canadian Open?
Rory McIlroy does.
I mean, just because he's competitive, but like there's still competition in the Live Tour. I don't understand. Like Charles Schwartzel just made $4 million. He wanted to win really bad. If there's a prize, it's not an exhibition.
Okay.
I think that pretty much is it. If there's a prize, it's not an exhibition. They're not just going around playing captain's choice, not keeping score, taking mulligans whenever they want.
If it's the same 50 people constantly, do people care? Would you care if it's the same?
As far as I'm concerned, the PGA Tour is the same 50 people
every
weekend.
It's usually the same winners. I agree.
Yeah.
Or it's in the ballpark, 15 to 20 guys. You might have a what is it? A Mito Pereira pop up every once in a while, but I mean, by and large, that's correct, right? By and large, there's 15 to 20 guys that you can count on that are basically got a chance to win every week.
And what is Monahan saying? Because Korn Ferry Tour guys are going to pop up every couple week, and amateurs are going to get exemptions and things like that. That's what makes the PGA Tour so special. Those guys never win. The Rory McIlroys, Justin Thomases, they win every tournament. That's what happens. It's obviously he needs to protect the I don't know what the word is, but he needs to protect his league, and obviously they have a stronger leg to stand on because it's just very clear that everyone in the Saudi league is doing it purely for the money, and at least the PGA Tour guys can have an argument that we're doing it for the love of the game and the competition and for playing in the most competitive league. But Rory has more money than he knows how to count, so he's going to be fine either way. It's the guys that are in the middle. It's the Patrick Reeds of the world that aren't marketable but are still good golf players. He's probably going to make so much more money than he would. I don't know what kind of sponsors he had, but I wouldn't sponsor him.
Well, yeah, they're more than compensated without their sponsors. They'll be perfectly fine. Charles Schwartzel doesn't need any sponsors right now. As you said, he's 4.75. That's I'm going to go with did he double his career earnings?
Charles Schwartzel?
Yeah.
I'll look that up.
Did he double his if he didn't double it, it'd be crazy if he actually
did double
it because it's just we're still talking insane amounts of money here.
$20 million he's won.
Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, he had he's been on the tour since 2005.
Really? Is Charles Schwartzel that old?
I guess so.
How about that? 803-404-6100. Up next, we get you player number 25 in our countdown of the top 30 players for South Carolina of the last 30 years in the SEC. Number 25 is up next. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Monday edition of the Extra Point, we'll talk to Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central to get a sense for how all the official visits, and there were a lot of them taking place on South Carolina's campus this weekend. How they went, some guys that are maybe leaning now South Carolina that weren't before, and maybe a few guys that are ready to commit here in the next couple of weeks. Plus, we'll talk about the NBA Finals. That is, unless the Boston Celtics have won it in 5 games. If they win Friday and Sunday, I will probably not be here Monday because I will probably have retired forever because I can't handle Boston sports fans. With that in mind, hoping to have a chance to talk to Mikey Uva about Boston sports, assuming that Golden State's swung the series and they're up 3-2 now. All that and more on The Extra Point.
The Extra Point.
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5. The Game.
Keeping a clean home, especially during the summer months because the kids are home, it can be a little bit more difficult. They're tracking dirt and grime and mud in. They're having parties with their friends. Who knows what they're doing? But during the summer, you're home. It becomes a little bit more difficult to keep it clean. You just need to use the professionals at Zero Res. That's exactly what I do. And it's always keeping my home looking spotless, looking beautiful, keeping it as clean as ever, all with that patented ZR Water technology. So don't wait any longer. Call Zero Res today, 803-262-4020, or you can book with ease online at ZeroResColumbia.com. Right now, you can get a great deal from Zero Res. Use the promo code SUMMER SALE to get 15% off all cleaning services. That's right. Carpets, rugs, upholstery, tile, air ducts, all 15% off when you use the promo code SUMMER SALE at ZeroResColumbia.com. With over 1,500 Google reviews, Zero Res is the most highly recommended cleaning company in the Midlands, and they will do a fantastic job with that patented ZR Water technology. So don't wait any longer. Get in touch with Zero Res today, either by phone, 803-262-4020, or by getting in touch with them easily over the internet, ZeroResColumbia.com. And make sure you use the promo code SUMMER SALE right now to get 15% off all cleaning services. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
And just one accident to report. This is going to be in Lexington. There's an accident on Main Street and Blue Ridge Terrace. Again, Main Street and Blue Ridge Terrace in Lexington.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Athletic Greens. One scoop of AG1 has 75 multivitamins to help you start your day off right. Go to athleticgreens.com/CBSAM. After a 3-month search, missing Iditarod sled dog Leon has been found 150 miles from where he escaped the race. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
These days, it's getting harder and harder to find savings. But you may have more cash than you realize in your home's equity. Unlock it today with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage. In the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. That means you could unlock thousands of dollars from your home. And with Rocket Mortgage, you could get all that cash in as little as 3 weeks. Put your hard-earned money to work. Pay down high-interest debt and combine your balances into one simple, low monthly payment. Now is your perfect opportunity to take control of your financial future. So what are you waiting for? When you want to consolidate debt and simplify your finances, Rocket can. Call 8338-ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started. That's 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com. Rocket.
Call for cost information and conditions. The Equal Housing Lender, licensed in all 50 states, and MLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
Sponsored by Discover. If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Midstate has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Herndon Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to beat any written offer by $500. That's right. We'll beat any written offer by $500. Visit Herndon Chevrolet today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
803-630-5929 for more details.
For over 3 decades, nobody has had a wrestling career like Arn Anderson. Conrad Thompson gets all the stories with Arn.
It feels as if with all these cage matches, there's an expectation that guys are going to be bleeding.
Those mats are very, very dirty. Main thing is take a long soapy shower and keep those injuries Neosporin up. Neosporin is a miracle drug, and it will heal stuff up overnight, believe it or not.
Listen to Arn every week, wherever you get your podcast.
Time now for the Old Timey Meat Market clip of the day. On November 24th, 1979, Jim Carlin's 19th ranked Gamecocks were hosting Danny Ford's number 13 Tigers, leading 13-9 with just 2.5 minutes to play. Both teams had solid bowl games already secured, but this was the Bragging Bowl. Clemson had Carolina's Jay Phelps punting from near his own goal line. Here is the voice, Bob Fulton.
But what a way to give it up. Jay Phelps comes in and puts his foot into one.
He's going to wind up with excellent field position with 2.5 minutes remaining. Passing to snap it back. Phelps waiting, standing at the 2. Good snap. He gets the kick away. A beautiful high spiraling putt. Back is Hollis. The ball rolls to the 10, rolls to the 5, and will be down at the 1-yard line. Yard putt.
Final score, Gamecocks 13, Tigers 9. And that's our old-timey clip of the day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market, with 3 locations: Lexington, South Congaree, St. Andrews Road, and Irma.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios, this is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's
30 for 30.
The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years.
Number 25, wide receiver, Pharaoh Cooper.
Dylan Thompson wants to throw it, fakes it. Inside, a leaping Pharaoh Cooper at the goal line. Are you kidding me? How did he make that catch?
In high school, Pharaoh Cooper helped Havelock, North Carolina, win back-to-back 3A state titles. Cooper was rated a 4-star prospect and the state's 9th best player by Rivals. During his Gamecocks career, Cooper was named All-SEC 2 times as a wide receiver and all-purpose back.
Cooper comes into the backfield. Nunez wants to throw it to him. He does so. Farrell wants to throw it. Now Farrell's got some pressure. He's going to run. He's got Nunez out in front of him. Inside the 20. Inside the 15 at 10. Farrell cut back. Touchdown Carolina. Touchdown Pharaoh Cooper.
In 2014 versus Tennessee, Cooper set the single-game school record with 233 receiving yards. Pharaoh was named the 2014 Independence Bowl MVP when he had 9 catches for 170 yards and a touchdown against Miami.
I've been working at a lot of different positions, the running back and the quarterback wildcat, and of course receiver. I know pretty much all the play calls from every position. So
in 2014, Cooper had one of USC's 5 1,000-yard receiving seasons in program history, finishing up with 1,136, third all time. After his junior year, Cooper entered the NFL draft and was selected in the 4th round by the LA Rams.
Number 25, wide receiver, Pharaoh Cooper. It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30.
The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5
The Game.
7:26 on a Monday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Brett, and there you hear it. The number 25 player on the list of top 30 players of the SEC era for South Carolina, Pharaoh Cooper. And Patrick, we got into this a little bit last week as we were talking about Brian Edwards, and we were going through some other wide receivers, and we said rank your top 3 wide receivers. And I think because he was so versatile, and again because of the transition that took place, the obviously the really bad 3-9 season that marked the end of the Steve Spurrier era there in 2015. But Pharaoh Cooper is up there in terms. I don't think people realize what exactly he did, because it was only really 2 years. His first year, his freshman year, and he really was kind of irrelevant. 3 catches, 54 yards, 1 touchdown.
Came in as a corner, right?
They brought him in. They brought him as a corner. But they knew he could play multiple positions. I remember his recruitment pretty well coming out of Havelock. Havelock, interestingly enough, was on a run of producing players at that time. You had Corey Robinson. You had a running back that ended up going to Tennessee, Darrell Scott, I believe was his name, that ended up doing nothing. Went up there, was a guy that South Carolina really thought that they would end up landing, and he ended up, for whatever reason, going to Tennessee and again, produced next. I don't even know if he finished his career up there or how that went for him. But Cooper came in. He was not a massive prospect in the way that some of those guys, like Mike Davis, we talked about that. Mike Davis was a big-time prospect that kind of Mike Davis was a top 50 prospect that kind of went under the radar. Cooper was not really that kind of massive prospect in the 2013 class. He was a guy again that chose South Carolina over Tennessee. He wasn't even a 4-star prospect. According to 24/7 Sports, he was basically just inside of the top 500 prospects nationally. And as you kind of mentioned, it was a guy that kind of came in. They started him at defensive back, but South Carolina had some really good defensive backs, and they ended up saying basically Steve Spurrier was like, all right, that's it. Within 3 days, get him over to the offensive side of the ball. Go ahead and move him over. Let's get him over. And obviously he went on to become something pretty special. He picked South Carolina over North Carolina and North Carolina State that particular year. Deke Adams was his recruiter of record. But you look at what he did, statistically speaking, in the 2 major years, and it's pretty impressive. 2014, 69 catches, 1,136 yards, and 9 touchdowns. 2015, again, the Spurrier transition year, playing with Lorenzo Nunez, playing with Perry Orth, playing with Connor Mitch, 66 catches, 973 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And if somebody doesn't jump off sides against Citadel, I forget who it was or what the call was that very end of the game, they don't jump off sides. He gets a very long touchdown to put him over 1,000 yards for that year as well. Pharaoh Cooper, to me, wildly underrated wide receiver during the last 15, 20 years of South Carolina's time.
The year that I got here was that 5 quarterback year, whatever, the Connor Mitch, Lorenzo Nunez, Perry Orth year. It was pretty much every week Pharaoh was the lone bright spot of the team. I mean, it was Sky Moore in that first game with the multiple interceptions against North Carolina, but every time a play needed to be made, it was going to be Pharaoh Cooper making the play. We do overlook him because he was right there after Spurrier, at the end of the Spurrier era, right before Muschamp, right before Debo, who basically was a similar style of player and probably just a little bit more dynamic, but he was so good. And his NFL career has been so weird. I'm just reading through all the teams he's been on. He's been on like 5 or 6 different teams, hasn't been able to stick, but was also an all-pro, which is very hard to wrap your mind around, because he had that incredible 2017 where he was a incredible kick returner. He was the all-pro kick returner for the Rams. And then ended up getting cut the next year and has bounced around from Cincinnati to Arizona to Cincinnati, back to Arizona to Carolina, Jacksonville. So last year on the Giants practice squad, and hopefully he'll find a home this year, but he's only 27 years old, and I would hope to see a lot more of him, but just a ridiculously good college career and very strange NFL career.
Yeah, I'm just going back and looking at some of his more memorable games. The little montage there mentioned the Tennessee game in which South Carolina blew. That was almost the final straw there for Steve Spurrier. South Carolina blew the 45. They ended up losing 45-42. They had the 2-touchdown lead, I think 42-28, and blew it there at the very end. Farrow in that game had 11 catches for 223 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 3 rushes for 23 yards and a touchdown. When you're talking about in that 45-42 overtime loss to Tennessee, he accounted for 256 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. Absolutely ridiculous. And the week prior on the road at Auburn, in which Spurrier realized his defense couldn't have stopped anybody, he started going for it basically on every fourth down. Cooper had 7 catches for 127 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. I mean, he had back-to-back weeks, Patrick, where he had 18 catches for 360 yards. Is that right? Yep, 360 yards and 4 touchdowns against Auburn and Tennessee. Cooper, and he had Dylan Thompson as his quarterback. Cooper, again, is kind of, to me, one of the more wildly underrated players because of playing in the 2014 season, which was kind of a disaster. He also, by the way, in that 2014 season in the bowl game, the Independence, the incredible Duck Commander Independence Bowl game, got that trophy in our trophy case back down there at the stadium, Duck Commander Independence Bowl. Cooper had 9 catches for 170 yards against Miami and a touchdown. I mean, the guy had, you go back 1, 2, 4 100-yard games in 2014 as a wide receiver. And then in 2015, the really bad 3-9 season, he ended up with 5 more 100-yard games. So 9 100-yard games in what was basically 25 games of his college career. I can throw in his freshman season as well. But again, the 2 years, he was the main receiver there in 14 and 15. Out of the 25 games he played, he had 9 100-yard receiving games. Absolutely phenomenal. We'll continue talking about him. We'll get into more Pharoh Cooper. We'll get back into some golf when we get out to the Love Chevy Funhouse. We got a lot to do this morning. You're listening to Bill Gunner and Patrick Pratt. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's
30 for 30.
The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years.
Number 30, quarterback Steven Garcia.
Gamecocks win. Garcia with a brilliant game.
Number 29, running back Mike Davis.
That Georgia fella can run. Good gracious.
Number 28, defensive back J.C. Horn.
Now Nick throws into traffic, and it's intercepted. There's J.C. Horn again making a play.
Number 27, wide receiver Brian Edwards.
And with that touchdown reception of 23 yards, Brian Edwards has become the all-time leader in receiving yards at South Carolina.
Number 26, defensive back Sheldon Brown.
Reese swings it out to Bush, and the ball is knocked away, and an incomplete pass. And a crunching hit put on by Sheldon Brown. And Bush takes a while to get up.
It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30.
The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5
The Game.
Staying healthy, jumping in the lake. You heard me talk about the temperatures this coming week, over 100 degrees in at least 3 or 4 of the days this week. You want to be in the best shape of your life to enjoy summer, and enjoying summer means jumping in the pool, jumping in the lake. And if you've got joint pain, not really able to do that. If you've been suffering from some hip pain, knee pain, back pain, you got something in your shoulders there, it just takes all the fun out of living. And right now, it's the most active season of the year. You don't want to live that way. It's time to call QC Kinetics. Give them a phone call today. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. You need to stop putting it off. Call QC Kinetics today to get a totally free in-office consultation. You can get real relief from pain with no surgery, no drugs, and most importantly, no downtime. Find out exactly what QC Kinetics can do for you in getting you back to living the lifestyle you want to live by calling today for that free in-office consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. That's exciting in-office, non-surgical treatment that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints, giving you the real lasting relief from pain you deserve. So call today, 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics.
Callaway's new Rogue ST Fairway Woods aren't just their longest ever. They're up to 10 yards longer. And now this game-changing distance comes in 3 models. Rogue ST Max, that fits most players because of the neutral ball flight. Then there's the Max D, engineered for a high launch and if you draw the ball. Finally, for better players, Max LS is Callaway's lowest spinning with neutral ball flight in a compact shape. Find your Rogue ST Fairway at CallawayGolf.com/Go Rogue. And now a message from Discover about real rewards. If you're a loyal credit card customer, you should be rewarded for your loyalty, preferably with something that you actually want and something that you can actually use, something like Cashback Match. Discover matches all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year automatically, dollar for dollar, because when it comes to rewards, you can't go wrong with cash back. Finally, rewards that make sense. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations do apply.
Since 1964, Gateway Supply has been the Midland's leader in plumbing and HVAC supply. And now, of course, they are statewide with more than 15 locations all across South Carolina. Their showrooms are filled with bath and kitchen fixtures from classic to modern styles. Now, tap and touchless faucets. You can even talk to your kitchen sink. See them at Hamrick Street near the Fairgrounds in Williams-Brice, or Highway 6 in Whiteford Way in Lexington. Design services, expert advice for customers and contractors alike. Visit them online at gatewaysupply.net.
The Men's Clinic is devoted to your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Dr. Dan Botnight and his staff want to help you restore your low testosterone. Hear from just a few of our patients.
My levels were way down, and I didn't know. I had no clue. Since coming to the Men's Clinic, my body's gotten stronger. I've gotten leaner, and I feel better all the time.
Dr. Botnight is very thorough, interested in what you're wanting to accomplish and discussing all the options with you. It's a very comfortable feeling.
Coming to the Men's Clinic, I keep up with my 40-year-old business partner. Matter of fact, he tries to keep up with me. Since coming to the Men's Clinic, the brain fog's disappeared. The time for this is probably 10 minutes a month. They never keep me waiting, so I always just come in and leave right away.
Come see us at the Men's Clinic. Your initial consultation is free. All you're really giving us is a little bit of your time. See if we can help you feel better. I think it'll be worth the investment.
The Men's Clinic, SC.com, or 803-875-MENS.
It's the Love Chevrolet countdown to Gamecock football.
82 days till kickoff. Why buy just any old used car when you can have the advantages of the Love Chevy certified pre-owned? See yours today. Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison, between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, and at lovechevy.com.
There's just something different about Medicine Mart of West Columbia. Just ask Brad Giles.
Just the level of service that you receive versus the big chain stores. These folks always call you by name when you walk in the door. You know, you hear that saying that people don't care what you know until they know that you care. These folks care, and it's real obvious in the level of service they provide to you. So Lynn and his team over there at Medicine Mart have certainly got my business for the rest of my life.
Medicine Mart Pharmacy at 1300 Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia. They look forward to serving you.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
(803-404-6100). We have talked a lot this morning. Warriors Celtics game 5 tonight in the NBA Finals. We've talked a little bit about the Live Golf Tour versus the PGA Tour, and we'll get out to the Love Chevy Fun Lines in just a second. And we've talked about the number 25 player in our Gamecock top 30 SEC players of the last 30 years. Countdown: Pharaoh Cooper. Listen to Spurrier. I was at too many press conferences where Spurrier would say Pharaoh, where it's just Pharaoh, but it's Pharaoh Cooper, the number 25 player on that list. And we'll talk more about that as we kind of go through the show. If you want to weigh in, again, 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. As always, you can go and you can jump on our live stream. Make sure you do that each and every morning and be a part of it. Hope in there, Danny, Mac, all asking some questions about the PGA versus the Live Golf Tour. Yeah, we did know. Texter weighed in. Patrick hit us up, said Charles Schwartzel won. Yeah, Jeff said Schwartzel won the Masters in 2011. I knew that. It's again, the payout for the Masters is not ridiculous. I mean, look, none of us would turn down the kind of money you would get for winning the Masters, but compared to what Charles Schwartzel just won this weekend, Masters payouts like maybe $2 million.
He won double what Rory, JT, and Tony Finau, who finished 1, 2, and 3 this week. He won double what they won.
Okay, yeah.
Combined.
I mean, you said $20 million for Schwartzel over his career. I mean, that's good. Look, $20 million over would you say 17 years, 2005?
But he just got so he got 25% of his career earnings this weekend, basically.
Excellent,
just
nice.
about.
Nice, yeah. So there you go. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone. Scott wants to weigh in this morning on some golf. Scott, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, fellas. I think you just kind of hit the nail on the head. Not only did he do 25% of his earnings, but he did it in 3 days, not 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Which, as an athlete, you got to look at your body and how long can you put out to golf. It is what it is, but that's still big wear and tear that extra day. Now, don't get me wrong. It doesn't really matter what the money is for the Masters. To say you want a Masters is
correct. Yeah.
One of the, that's the dream for any golfer. But the reality is this: like Dustin, he's got an exemption to the Masters, so they can't keep him. They can't keep him out of that. I'm very interested to see where that goes, because the British Open and the Masters, those guys, if they got exemptions, there ain't a whole lot they can do about it. I'm curious to see how that works and where it ends up going and what the Masters ends up doing. Does the Masters maybe buy in to letting some of these live guys play and possibly take bigger purses? I mean, they work on their own world at the Masters, so it's very interesting to me to see what happens. But, go to the NBA and say, listen here, we got another NBA, and instead of 7-game series, we're going to do 5-game series, and you're guaranteed 3 times more money. There's not a player in the NBA that wouldn't walk. I'm very interested to see how this changes the dynamics of golf and where it ends up going, and which league ends up thriving and which league maybe falls to the cornhole tour type of name because of this money getting thrown in. Because at the end of the day, those guys don't care where the money's coming from as long as it's actually coming.
Thank you for the phone call, Scott. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And if I have read everything correctly, and I've checked around on this multiple times, obviously the Masters is an invitational tournament. They can invite. They are not a part of the PGA from the standpoint of the PGA and Jay Monahan being able to regulate who can and can't play. This real quick on the Masters is my personal opinion. And living close to Augusta, I think a lot of people would agree with this. The Masters is going to do what the Masters wants to do. They are all about the Masters and not about the PGA Tour itself. The Masters will do whatever they see fit. And what I can almost guarantee you is the guys down there in the green jackets are going to say, we want the best field possible. We want all the champions of the PGA Tour. Yeah, it's, one way you qualify. We want all our former players back. We want everybody that we can get into the field. I think that's one that the PGA is just going to have to.
If they wanted to, could they say former champions don't have to be invited back? Is that allowed? Because it's 4 former Masters champions on the Live Tour now,
so
right?
if you go
Dustin,
back,
Sergio, Patrick Reed, and Charles Schwartzel.
Mickelson.
5.
Yeah, because that was the thing this year. There were rumors. There were rumors that Phil was advised to not play by people at Augusta. Nothing ever came out where they said you can't play. Nothing ever came out where he was banned or anything like that. If everything happened, it was just there were rumors that basically some of the higher ups there reached out to Phil and said, it's probably better if you don't play this year. Now, whether that's true or not, whether, whatever was going on, I don't know. But the bottom line, that was the rumor, whether it was Phil really working on himself. The other part of that is what I've read is that the PGA Championship, the U.S. Open, are both run under the sanctioning of the United States Golf Association and not the PGA Tour. I could be wrong on that. I've tried to read and find somewhere in there where the PGA Tour specifically runs those 2 tournaments. But the USGA and the PGA are 2 entirely different things. That's why you can have, obviously, the professional golfers, the club golfers for the PGA, we'd have somebody from right here at Country Club of Lexington or one of the other ones. You can go out and you can qualify. Same thing with the U.S. Open. You can have qualifying, the old Tin Cup theory there of Kevin Costner. But I believe, if I've read everything correctly, and if I'm wrong, somebody correct me, the USGA is entirely different than the PGA, and the USGA is the one that sanctions those events, allowing you into the U.S. Open and the PGA Championship, which now opens up 3 of the 4 majors. The fourth, the British Open, or the Open as they like to call it over there, is run by the Royal and Ancient Golf Club. Again, not a PGA Tour event specifically, where, once again, the Royal and Ancient, they think very highly of their tournament. They're going to have those people as well. So I think Dustin and Mickelson and those guys, as long as you've qualified and everything, the associations that are running those, I assume they're going to have them, and they're going to say, "Yeah, come play our majors. Don't worry, we don't care what you do with the PGA or the Live Golf Tour. We want you in our majors to showcase what we're doing."
Unless the PGA has some behind the scenes influence over any of these, but from what we know about the Masters, no one tells them what to do.
Right.
No one's going to tell the British Tour what to do. Jay Monahan's not going to call up Mr. Royal and Ancient and tell him, "Hey,
Mr. Royal and Ancient,
King Royal, King Ancient."
I think you got to send a telegram to Mr. Royal and Ancient. I believe it goes over on a boat and it comes back 8 months later. So by the time the telegram gets there, we'll continue talking about this. Certainly, if you want to weigh in, I've read a lot about this because, again, going back to last week where all the announcements started popping out, the main thing was, hey, Dustin Johnson's got himself some majors. This is about life-changing money. Oh, I can still play in 4 majors, and I can play in 10 to 14 events as the Live Golf Tour grows. And as Scott just said, I can only play 54 holes a week. Yeah, I'll be a part of that.
Man.
So not a bad little deal. So
Can't play golf on Sunday?
yeah, he was just checking out some castles.
Shoot.
He's having some tea and crumpets. Whatever else you're doing.
Tea time. He loves tea time.
Yeah, that's right. We'll continue on. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Today at 4:15, Sheldon Brown, our number 26 player on the top 30 countdown of the best Gamecock football players of the SEC era, will be on Game Time with Heath Klein. That's today at 4:15 on your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Tell you what, it is going to be hot this summer. So with that in mind, jumping in the pool, coming home, enjoying that backyard pool, that is absolutely something you want to be able to do. And so you need to make sure that pool is properly maintained and ready to be used. So my question would be, have you called Corley Pool Solutions yet? Have you gotten in touch with the man, the myth, the legend, Tracy Corley, the guy who makes sure that everybody's pool is nice and clean and ready to be used? If not, you don't need to wait any longer. It's time to call Corley Pool Solutions today to get the experience that Tracy has of 20 years out to your house personally, not just a team, but Tracy Corley is there himself, monitoring, making sure your pool is clean and ready to be used. So don't wait any longer. Call Tracy Corley and Corley Pool Solutions today, 803-445-8109. It's weekly cleanings and it's no contracts. That's right. They stand by their word. They believe in the service. Corley Pool Solutions believes in what they're doing for you. So they don't make you sign a contract, and it's flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals. It's more affordable to use Corley Pool Solutions than it is to visit the pool store on your own. That's right. It's actually having someone there that can diagnose an issue. If you got algae, if you got another problem in there, someone there that can actually diagnose it on the spot, put the right chemicals in there and get it fixed quickly. Well, that's kind of essential during the summertime because you want that pool ready to be used. So call Corley Pool Solutions today, 803-445-8109. And you heard me say it again. Tracy Corley will be there himself. That's the guy you want. You want the owner there supervising, making sure it's done properly, making sure your pool is clean. And Tracy Corley's there each and every time to make sure the job is done correctly. 803-445-8109. Again, weekly cleaning, no contracts, and flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals. Call Corley Pool Solutions today for all of your pool cleaning needs. 803-445-8109.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
And going to start with a hit and run reported in Lexington. This was on Emmanuel Church Road and Dora Road. We've also got a collision on US 321 at exit 115. Finally, an object in the roadway, I-26 eastbound at the Broad River Road. That's exit 101. It's got the exit ramp blocked there.
Sponsored by Midland Air Service Experts.
Sweating a broken AC? There's an expert for that.
Let your local experts at Midland Air Service Experts keep you cool with $50 off any repair. Call 866-EXPERTS. See website for license details.
Summer is here. While you get ready for that summer vacation, why not show your home a little TLC too? Get annoying repairs like lifting a sunken sidewalk or waterproofing a humid basement out of the way so you can return to a stable home. At Mount Valley Foundation Services, we offer permanent solutions to your foundation problems. Our crew will evaluate your property for free. Careful to look everywhere an issue may be found. Trust us for foundation repairs. Just visit fixmyfoundation.com to set up your no-obligation inspection today.
Mount Valley Foundation Services, rock solid foundation.
Hello, I'm Roy Finley.
And I'm Dana Finley, owners of AAA Heating and Air.
South Carolina's crazy weather is hard on your HVAC system. If your unit is living on borrowed time, replace it now with AAA's best.
Yeah, Larry. Yeah, Phil's got an exemption for the he won the Masters. Phil's won a Masters, so yeah, he's exempt there. That's why he was, but I thought that was right. Yeah, it's organized. It's still organized by the USGA, which is different.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. With Phil Gunter, Engines are your home again. Feel the Game, 1075.
Patrick, I can already tell right now my plan for the week is on Friday to get to the movie theater to watch Jurassic Park or Jurassic Park World, whatever it is, whatever the new one is, whatever the final one is. I know what the reviews are saying and totally understand, and I'll probably be totally let down. This will be it. This will be the last movie. So with that in mind, should I just go ahead and read the Wikipedia page?
Yeah.
You think so? This is one time you grant me permission to go ahead and just read and see what happens, and then...
Yeah, because I'm not going to go see this movie now.
Really?
And I was really excited for it. I watched Jurassic Park 1 last night.
There was like a what do you call it? It was a bunch of them were on, all of them were on FX.
Marathon?
A
marathon?
Marathon, yeah, all of them were on. I forget. So I was watching yesterday, watching a bunch of them as they were coming through. The which one was it? I think it was the second to last one. Chris Pratt's been in 2, correct?
Yes, this will be his 3rd.
Okay, the first one with Chris Pratt, kind of the new world, the new, where they kind of reset everything, is better than the last one. The last one's interesting, where the dinosaurs, that's the very end where the dinosaurs are running off, and the final clip had Blue, the little raptor, looking over a city and squawking or talking or whatever. But okay, so you give me permission to
Yeah, because it sounds like there's no story in this movie. They just brought in the old cast, used some cool CGI dinosaurs, and thought no one's going to care what's actually said in this movie. No one's going to care about the story. We have cool dinosaurs.
Okay, I'll have to take that under advisement. There, I'm also getting a text message that do not read the Wikipedia page. So conflicting answers there.
If the movie's going to stink, you might. Who cares?
Yeah.
Don't read the Wikipedia page for Top Gun, even though I'm convinced that you're never gonna see it.
Already did that.
What? Read the Wikipedia page?
Top Gun, yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me, so I don't like it. Didn't.
Well,
like,
you're just you're gonna run with this. I've never seen Top Gun bit forever.
No,
you're
I
gonna
mean,
go out of your way to not make sure you don't see it.
and that very well may be something that I do where I actually go and like if I read the Wikipedia page and Jurassic Park sounds that bad, I just suck it up and go see Top Gun. That way I can just be a hamster like everybody else. Say I've seen it.
Hamster.
Yeah.
Hamster.
That gerbil. I don't know. Lemming. Whatever. What's
Sheep.
a sheep? Okay. You get the point. We got a whole nother hour to talk about more entertaining stuff. We get back into the golf. I did look up the US Open to confirm some of the things I've said. We'll also get back into that South Carolina top 30 for 30 countdown. Early game. 107.5 the game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
A Cumulus media station.
Hey, it's Heath. I'm here with Jacob Crowder, who we all know affectionately as the Mortgage Guru. Jacob's in his second decade advertising here on 107.5 The Game. He's helped hundreds of 107.5 listeners. It's time he helps you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to help the 107.5 faithful. With the new year, people are focusing on housing needs. If you are looking to purchase a new home, I would love to help you. Call me, 803-719-1005, or you can email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
With a fresh start in the new year, I bet people are looking to save money right now.
You are right. Rates are still very low and people are lowering their rates and consolidating debts. Rates are so low on 15-year mortgages that the 15-year loans have become very popular. Call me today and let's discuss your refinance options. 803-719-1005 or jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com. My NMLS number is 198432. First Palmetto Bank is an equal housing lender and a member of the FDIC.
Jacob, give people that number one more time.
803-719-1005 or email jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
You do not want to miss this. Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's huge summer sale is. Oh, this is good news. I'm glad. Thank you. There is some glimmer of light.
I have heard probably 5 reviews of Jurassic World, none of them good. And I love Jurassic World, and I was pumped, but I'm not going to pay to see it.
So it's got a 30%. Is it? Yeah, 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, 37% on Metacritic.
That's brutal.
Critic consensus. This is on Rotten Tomatoes. The critic consensus says Jurassic World Dominion might be in a bit of an improvement over its immediate predecessors in some respects, but this franchise has lumbered a long way down from its classic start.
Yeah, the first Jurassic World I liked. It was good.
The first Jurassic World or Jurassic Park?
Well, the first Jurassic Park's incredible. The first Jurassic World was good.
You know what? And what's kind of a shame is basically what honestly, and I get the impression that they didn't do this to like do a 5 or 6 movie type deal, but you really could have worked this out to where you had a thrilling franchise about dinosaurs coming back out into the world. Everybody's saying the World Dominion.
It's sort of following the same playbook as the first trilogy.
How about it, Bill? Come on over.
He's the rear end of the show every morning.
Patrick Perez.
There's a 0% chance that I will have a full wedding.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for your.
There's a 0% chance that will happen.
The future Mrs. Perrette to put her foot down and
she can try. My feet are bigger. Guaranteed.
And Jen Jensen.
William Byron referring to Joey Logano. Jen,
I didn't want
as
to
a
do
moron,
Casey chiropractic and QC back to back, so I just switched.
vocabulary straight
That
out
was
of
poorly.
the
It's not like you got to do anything better, but just
not happy with how something is.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Final hour of the Monday edition of the early game. Again, busy weekend. Had some NBA basketball that you were able to kind of crunch on Friday night there. Warriors Celtics. The Warriors rally from 4 down in the final 5 minutes. They go on a 17-3 run to even up that series, Patrick. 2 games apiece, and it's kind of one of those things now. I'm with you, and I think even though you come in here every morning after one of the games and you say that you can't get too excited, too up and down just because of one game, and I feel like I've been that person who after every game I'm just like, oh, no, this is something where, I've completely changed my mind. I think it is developing into a solid series. I'm hoping that the final 3 games now, what's a best of 3 series, I'm hoping that we get great games down the stretch, because really Friday night was the first time we had something where within the final 4 or 5 minutes you really could stay involved with, and it didn't devolve into a blowout.
It was still a 10-point game, though. I just want to see. I want to see someone in a one possession game with under a minute left.
Okay. 2 minutes left. Like
That's
that.
what we need. We need an iconic. There's no moment from the series yet, is there?
No, not that I'm not.
I mean,
not
Steph's great. You can pick any number of his threes, but
when you think about
Steph had the ball the right way with a minute left,
isolated on Marcus Smart.
No, we don't have anything like that yet.
No, yeah, I don't. There's nothing that stands out in this series so far. There's been a couple really good performances. Jason Tatum's played really good. Steph's been very good. Draymond Green has been awful and kind of out in left field. But there's nothing yet. Al Horford's game 1, I guess, maybe 26 points in his first ever NBA Finals game. Certainly something that stands out. But by and large, no, you're 100% right on that. But game 5 tonight, Warriors and Celtics back in Oakland. You gotta pick.
I think I need to pick the Warriors
because it is crazy.
It's hard to pick against a
very clear trend like this. The Celtics haven't lost after a loss. So something's going to happen to break, but I do agree with you.
The Celtics are a better team now.
They're better.
Who's the number 2 on Golden State?
Clay had a good
game 4.
Clay's fine. He had 18 points. He was pretty good. He was 4 for 10 for 3. That's not elite shooting. That's solid shooting. Andrew Wiggins has been good defensively. But Draymond's giving you nothing. Jaylen Brown is if Steph and Jason Tatum, you want to say take each other out like two superstars, Jaylen Brown's better than anyone else in this series. Jaylen Brown's better than Klay Thompson right now. He's giving you a lot more. Robert Williams defensively is a presence that Golden State does not have. He's been far better than Draymond Green in this series. Al Horford, maybe not shot blocking. He did have a block shot. He's rebounding defensively. He's in position. He does make a positive impact also in a way that Draymond is not doing at all. Marcus Smart is obviously the defensive player of the year. And then just on their bench, like Grant Williams has given Boston good minutes when they needed them. Derek White give you a flurry of points every once in a while. And you've just not gotten that from Golden State's supporting cast. Like Jordan Poole has not done much. He hasn't hit a shot in a big moment. He's filling it up in quick spurts in the second and third quarters, and just not making an impact, not leaving a mark on this series at all. Otto Porter's doing nothing. Like Golden State's not getting up. Evans putting his team on his back right now, and I don't know if he can do it for the rest of the series.
So you still going Warriors
tonight? I think I want.
That was a lovely breakdown of the series, only to then say, but I still am going to take the Warriors.
But that's what this is all related to. I think Steph's going to have to, and I think ultimately will do something epic. Like a couple more 40-point games. Like I like Steph a lot, and I really want at the end of the series
the narrative to be Steph just put himself in completely rarefied air. Like, we're going to be talking about Steph as a fringe top 10 player in NBA history after this series. That's what I want.
As I sit here and look up on the television in front of us, they're discussing the game here on different sports channels. One of the questions is, does Curry need another 40-point game for the Warriors to win tonight? Does he? I mean, is that what it takes? Like, he has to put up 40. He cannot be in the 30s. He's got to go for 40 and
If
do it all again.
If he's get what he got last game, I mean, maybe there's a game. Maybe Wiggins has a 25-pointer at some point.
Maybe Clay's got a 30-pointer at some point late. Like Game 6 Clay, that's his nickname had become during these playoffs. Maybe we'll get that. But I think Steph's going to have to be putting the team on his back. And that's what I'm hoping we're going to be able to do. Because Boston is better. They're just a better team right now. They play better as a team. Their styles fit each other better than Golden State does, but Steph is the best player in the series.
We'll continue talking about that as the Warriors, the Celtics. I kind of, you're going Celtics, or excuse me, you're going Warriors. I'm kind of leaning Celtics tonight. I think that again, the Celtics were up 4 with 5 minutes to go, had a great chance, and then just didn't close out the game. I think maybe tonight, defensively, they bounce back. We'll see if they come up with a plan.
And then you got to close that out in Boston, right?
That's kind of what I'm leaning right now. That's kind of what I'm leaning. I'm not sure you want to go to a Game 7 back in Oakland. That's the one time I would say the Warriors at home, just you feel like it's going to fall in their favor. So we'll continue talking about that, and obviously break it down tomorrow morning when we come back as to how the game went tonight. And you can check that out 9 o'clock on ABC. We've also discussed some South Carolina football recruiting. Big morning or big Sunday for them. They land 3 public commitments yesterday. They land a 3-star safety, Cameron Upshaw, 162 pounds. He's 6'2", 185 pounds, likely to play free safety at South Carolina, but the South Carolina lands him over Arkansas, Florida State, and Maryland, amongst others. The Gamecocks also landed a tight end, Connor Cox, out of Jacksonville, Florida, from the Bowl School. Had offers from Boston College, Louisville, Maryland, Minnesota, West Virginia, among other ones. 6'5", 220 pounds is what he is listed at. Considered more of that size. Connor Cox is considered more of a blocking tight end as opposed to a pass-catching tight end. Now, obviously, he can still catch passes, but if you're looking at it, last year he only played in 5 games for the Bowl School, had 7 receptions, was injured for the majority of the year, but the Gamecocks add him to their commitment list. And then the highest-rated commitment of the weekend, Kelton Henderson, a 5'11", 175-pound wide receiver out of Florida, chooses South Carolina over Michigan, Auburn, Florida State, Georgia, and LSU, among others. That's a guy that they'll look to bring in and add. One thing I'm noticing with Justin Stepp and with Marcus Satterfield and what the staff appears to be trying to do, Patrick, is they're really trying to add more speed at the wide receiver position. And that's something that, you had Deebo Samuel, and he obviously brought a lot to it. Shi Smith had probably better speed than we realized. Brian Edwards would get downfield more often than we realized. But South Carolina still, by and large, that receiving group has generally lacked speed the last few years. It seemed like Brian McClendon preferred the bigger, stronger wide receivers as opposed to kind of a variety of guys.
Well, and there's a case to be made for either one. I would argue if you're going to be struggling at the quarterback position, it's probably better to have the bigger guys. If you're going to be throwing contested catch balls, you probably want guys like that. I mean, how many 50-50 balls did Alshon Jeffrey come down with in his career? And Brian Edwards did kind of the same thing, but the game is changing in that way where you just need to make defenses cover every inch of grass possible. And if you have guys that are speedy, then that is ideal. The phrase that I always hear during draft, I think it's Bucky Brooks says it, and Darryl Jeremiah says it, but you want to build your wide receiver room like a basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to have the speed guy. You want to have your power forward or your center that can catch those contested balls. And then you want to have your quick sort of more twitched up, but maybe not as fast guys underneath in the slot. And I think South Carolina right now, their wide receiver room is a lot like that. And maybe EJ Jenkins, you lost your center, but you've still got some size there. And you've definitely got I think, I don't know stylistically how you would describe Juice Wells versus Josh Vann, but I think they're more similar than not. And then Landon Sampson is sort of that completely different one. And DeCarron Joyner, I think, is in the same mold of a Landon Sampson, but I don't know who your pure straight line deep threat is. It's probably a Marion Brown, but I don't know who else fits that mold right now.
Yeah, Amarion, I mean, we talked a little bit about the wide receivers as it pertains to this current roster, and we'll see. Josh Vann, obviously, with a very strong year, showed what he's capable of doing. We'll see if Juice Wells and Corey Rucker can step up when they turn on those new LED lights there at Williams-Brice Stadium and everything starts flashing, and we'll see kind of what they do in front of 75, 80,000. Throw in behind them Xavier Legette and DeCarrion Joyner. You mentioned Amarion Brown. Landon Sampson is a guy that I think they're hoping can come in and make an impact. And how do you utilize Jaheim Bell? Where does Jaheim Bell fit into all this? Because it is hard to imagine him lining up in the true tight end position and coming off the line of scrimmage. He showed against North Carolina. He's got the speed to make things happen if you can get him into certain situations. And I just don't know why you would want to use him so much in the tight end position as opposed to maybe a slot or wide receiver type guy.
Well, I'll be interested to see how teams elect to cover him because he's not going to probably have his hand on the ground. He'll probably be off the line of scrimmage in an H-back spot or just straight up out wide in the slot. But it will be interesting to see pretty early on, are teams going to try and cover him with a linebacker where you just kind of send him deep and say he's going to outrun this guy, or team's going to try and cover him with a defensive back where you say, look, he's just bigger. He's going to win these matchups. Just throw the ball to him and let him be physical. I'm curious how that's going to go. I mean, teams like a Georgia State probably aren't going to have the type of athlete that's going to be able to cover him. But when you go to Arkansas, is Arkansas going to have sort of like a 6'2", 220-pound safety that runs 4.5s? That's going to be perfect for that, because that's basically what everyone is trying to do now. When you've got these freak athletes, you're just trying to isolate him and make the other team make a decision. Because if that's the case, if they're going to play zone, and you're just going to have to trust Spencer Rattler, but if they're going to say, look, we trust this linebacker to cover Jaheim Bell, you're just going to challenge him time after time, and we'll see how that goes.
We'll continue talking about that. We'll get into some NFL stuff, some quarterback discussion. Tyreek Hill weighing in on Tua Tagovailoa. Did I get it correctly? Was I close?
Tagovailoa.
It's been a while since I've had to say it. I just go with Tua. Tua versus Patrick Mahomes. Who's more accurate? Tyreek Hill wanted to weigh in on that on a podcast he did recently. We'll get Patrick's take on that. And, we didn't get into it last week, Patrick, because it's a morning show. We don't like to kind of play Debbie Downer or get into topics that are overly serious at times. But we do need to discuss the Deshaun Watson situation and what's happening in Cleveland, and whether you think now that contract can be voided, whether you think Watson is viable to play in this coming season, 2022. There's a reason the Browns are holding on to Baker Mayfield. They know what could be coming down the pipe. I'll get your take on a couple of different NFL topics as we roll along. You're listening to Bill Gunner and Patrick Pratt. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next halftime show.
Hey guys, Jay and Terry coming up on the Monday halftime show. We'll recap what's going on in the Super Regionals. We've got Gamecock Countdown player number 25, top 30 in the SEC era. It's been a fun first week, and I know who all of them are still.
Really?
Well, as far as you know.
As far as we know.
Yeah, George Rogers, Steve Wadiak.
The halftime show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy.
Noon to 3
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
If you've been living with a little bit of back pain lately, a little bit of issues with your lower back, your spine, don't allow it to affect you any longer. Call Casey Chiropractic Center. The great doctors over there, Dr. Roman and Dr. Pate Cooper, each with 20-plus years of experience in the industry, are ready to help you with different levels of non-surgical disc decompression. That's right. If you've ever been told you need back or neck surgery for a disc issue in your spine, that's probably not true. May not be true. You need to contact Dr. Pate and Dr. Roman Cooper. See what they can do for you. It's possible to have non-surgical approach to fixing the disc problems through chiropractic and or non-surgical disc decompression. Sounds complicated. Confuses me. I'm not a very smart person. I would just flat call Casey Chiropractic Center and talk with the professionals. 803-796-2424. Casey Chiropractic and Disc Center of Columbia are absolutely going to make you feel better, and they'll do it with no excessive crazy care plans of excessive treatment or scare tactics. They file all major insurances, and they don't want to run patients just through the mill. It's a pay-as-you-go type practice. So call Casey Chiropractic today and set up an appointment. 803-796-2424. If you've been suffering from headaches, leg and arm numbness, maybe some neck pain, they treat all ages, so they're ready to help you. You can just visit them on the web at disccenterofcolumbia.com, or again, you give them a phone call to set up that appointment. 803-796-2424. 24 is how you can get in touch with Dr. Peyton, Dr. Roman Cooper at KC Chiropractic Center, helping families since 1962, and they're ready to help you today. 803-796-2424. That's KC Chiropractic Center.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And looks like just one accident report right now. This is going to be on Broad River Road and St. Andrews Road. And we've also got some debris in the roadway, US 176 and Kinley Road.
This is Boomer Science with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Athletic Greens. One scoop of AG1 has 75 multivitamins to help you start your day off right. Go to athleticgreens.com/CBSAM. It's rare to applaud any international sports governing body these days, but gradually raising the age limit for Olympic-level figure skating competition from 15 to 17 years old seems and feels very smart. Boomer Science.
CBS Sports Radio.
Carla's retiring early next month. We're all going to have to learn to pick up the slack.
The dessert making role at Sawyer's restaurant, deserted.
Tom, if you can handle beignets.
They need a new pastry chef who can souffle like it's a piece of cake.
Come on, guys, we've got a line out the door. How much longer for those croissants?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. It looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples has your workspace covered with furniture and organizational items curated by Staples Work From Home Style Squad. Now get 25% off storage and filing products, chair mats, decor, and lighting with the purchase of a desk or office chair. In-store only. Offer N72. Staples, the working and learning store.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service, Guy Gant's company. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are. The Gant girls, you know, Chelsea and Madison. You know some of the things they do at Pioneer Tree Service? Tree and shrub removal, tree pruning and thinning, tree planting, tree bracing, raising tree canopies, stump grinding removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, demolition and rock removal, right-of-way maintenance. You got to get in touch with these people. 803-794-8253. Let me give you that again. 803-794-8253. Call right now and get a free estimate for the most challenging jobs, Pioneer Tree Service. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service.
803-794-8253. Or find us online at pioneertreesc.com.
Call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value.
Workout number 2. My goodness. That is quite the morning. I didn't watch a lot of golf. I played golf this weekend, Patrick. I was in Santee, and I didn't watch a lot of golf. And so I had seen this advertised. But what I thought it was going to be is not what I'm now looking at on ESPN. The RBC Canadian Open this week. Did you see the unique seating arrangement they did with like these sky seats where they lifted I don't know how many people up on a crane? Did you see the picture of it?
No.
All right. Google picture, because here's the thing. If you hadn't seen this, I heard Heath Klein talking about this, and I saw it on Twitter last week. We'll talk NFL in just a minute, but I just saw this because I didn't watch golf this weekend. And so what I thought they were going to, like, I thought they were going to be like on a platform, like where it was kind of like you could walk around a little bit and you could kind of move. And I just saw like, it's like a bar. They're at like a bar, but they're strapped into their seat. Like I have a slight fear of heights. And I don't know if are you looking at the picture now?
Yeah.
Do you see how they're like, if you haven't seen this, go and you can Google RBC Heritage, RBC Canadian Open sky seats, and you can see, like, I thought it was like a platform that, like, if I needed to get up and like walk or move around, I could move around just a little. I'm not asking to be able to, like, walk 70 or 80 yards. I just thought it would be something that, I could move around. Now, it looks like in the middle, there's two bartenders, and they're able to walk back and forth on the platform. But the patrons who are up there, like, their seats are just out over air. It looks terrifying. I just saw this on television. Huh?
There's no way it's completely steady, right?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure that there
It's
has to
shaking
be
a little
less.
bit.
Oh, there's no way. Like, if you haven't seen it, there is nothing in the world that would make me think that that's a good idea.
Well, and not even people are paying to do this.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I saw it last week. I heard Heath talk about it on his program as well, and didn't really think anything of it. And matter of fact, like I said, I was busy all weekend. I was playing golf and wasn't really kind of following a whole lot until yesterday afternoon. And the only reason I bring it up even now is because I just happened to see like the actual footage of people sitting up there enjoying the golf tournament. And my thought was you were up on like you were on a platform where, maybe there's like 20 of us and you're kind of mingling around, and you could kind of walk over to a bar and kind of, again, it'd be just like being in a room. I'm just, as I was looking at it, like, you literally sit in that seat, and I'm assuming have multiple seat belts on.
Yeah, they're strapped in. You can't. It's for 30 minutes, so I don't know what would be enjoyable about this. I mean, the view would probably be cool, but
you can't, like,
you're shaking a little bit. You can't pee. You can't get up. You can't move. You're just strapped in, eating your food.
Yeah, I mean, if you get up there, the seats went up to 100 feet in the air. 22 people were strapped in while they enjoy food and beverage for 30 minutes above the first and 18th hole. And like you just said, you go, well, I don't know what view you're getting out of that.
The skyline.
Like, I mean, maybe, yeah, when you say view, I mean, the view is not the seats, technically, the view is not of the golfing.
Also, there's people that are their back is facing the skyline.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I doubt that thing twirls. If so, that would not be much better.
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't seen it this morning, again, I know he talked a little bit about it. And the only reason I'm talking about it is just because we've got these TVs in here, and I knew that they were doing this, but like, when I had read the story about it, I thought, okay, it's some kind of big platform that'll be raised up by a crane, and at least you'll have a little bit of mobility in there. I just watched it, and I'm claustrophobic, and I have a small fear of heights. And I started watching it, and even in studio, as I sit here and almost move closer to the ground, like, my stomach started turning a little bit just seeing people up that high. I mean, if you get to your office this morning, Google it, 803-404-6100. I don't, yeah, Douglas says, what about going to the restroom? Cocky Mike says he can hold it for 30 minutes. Let me tell you something. You get up in the air, like that, and it's a little terrifying. You're right. A gust of wind comes by and you start rocking a little bit. Like, go look at the picture, because what I read and what I initially thought that to be is nowhere close to what I thought to be. And that would be the least enjoyable 30 minutes of any sports viewing I would ever have.
Did you see what people paid for it?
I saw it last week. It was, I want to say, about $1,500. Was that right?
$1,500 for 30 minutes
Yeah.
to just not be comfortable. I don't think I'm scared of heights necessarily. But if you're looking down, that's part of it. And if you're waiting at all in the wind, like I would completely hate that. There would actually be a zero enjoyable part of that for me.
No, I literally just happened to look up and they were showing the seating of it, and they showed people sitting up there. I mean, like I think there is something there where your feet are kind of resting on kind of. Otherwise, your feet
On
are just
ground?
dangling. No, when I'm saying when you're up in the air.
They're dangling in the air?
I mean, if I look at this picture correctly, I don't. That's what caught my attention is if you.
I'm looking at sort of just a mock-up of it. I'm looking at an animated picture of
No,
what
you
it's
know, you
supposed to
need to
look
go
like.
look at the real picture.
Where?
It's. I mean, you just. I type in RBC Canadian Open Sky Seats, and you can go to images, and it's to me, it's horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. 803-404-6100. How you can join us. There's actually an up close picture I'm looking at now of like 3 people up there enjoying a beverage, and that doesn't. Looking at the little tiny bar area, that doesn't make me feel any better. It's on golfweek.usatoday.com. Actually, looks even more terrifying now that I look at an up close picture. 803-404-6100. If you haven't seen that, go and check that out. That was boy. NFL football. Patrick, Tyreek Hill, big trade in the offseason, goes to the Dolphins, leaves the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill over the weekend doing a podcast with Drew Rosenhaus, his agent. And is this Tyreek Hill kind of sucking up to his new quarterback, or do you think there's some honesty in this, in saying that he said, he goes, obviously, when asked about who had the stronger arm, Tua or Patrick Mahomes, he said, obviously, I'm going to go with 15. Patrick Mahomes is the strongest arm. But as far as accuracy-wise, I'm going with Tua all day long. You buying into Tyreek Hill pumping up his new quarterback for the Dolphins?
No, he has to. He's been having to defend Tua all the time because he got traded from a perfect situation football-wise to go to Miami and make $30 million and be the highest-paid receiver. He wants to make it look like it was a good decision, and it's not going to be the end of Tyreek Hill as we knew it. He made a comment last week. I think it might have been a tweet, but somebody said there's been lots of comments about Tua's arm strength. So that was a stupid question to begin with. But he said that the arm strength's not an issue and made a comment, kind of threw Matt Moore under the bus.
He chunked Matt Moore under the bus, rode over him multiple times.
I went for 150 yards with Matt Moore.
Let me read
Matt Moore.
Yeah, let me read the quote on that one. I just want people to understand I went for 150 with Matt Moore as my quarterback. I love you, Matt Moore, versus the Minnesota Vikings. If you don't remember that game, 150 and 1 touchdown with Matt Moore as my QB. And Tua T is 10-10 Matt Moore. Is
10 Matt Moores.
And he goes, I love Matt Moore, but Tua T is 10 Matt Moores. In that game, Hill had 6 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown. So, not only is he defending, but then he is just driving all over Matt Moore right now as his former quarterback.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's ripping on Tua, and I don't know if Tyreek's just trying to inspire some confidence in him or what, but there have been some ugly highlights. There's one that I think the Dolphins tweeted out. There was one particularly bad. It was just a deep ball that at the end completely started wobbling, and Tyreek Hill had to stop and let the ball come to him. So people were like, oh, there's no shot. If Tyreek Hill gets free behind the defense, Tua's not going to be able to deliver the ball to him. And Tyreek Hill is trying to just put those fears aside. So you got to do it. You got to defend your teammate. You got to defend your quarterback. But I don't believe him, and I don't know that I'm a doubter or hater or anything like that. But there's a very real chance the Dolphins are going to be in the QB market next year, and they'll be a really attractive destination for anyone who wants to make a move.
One situation they may have dodged a bullet on is with Deshaun Watson, Patrick, and this situation kind of continues to spiral out of control, and I'm not real sure where it's going to go. We sit here, it's June 13th. What are we, Patrick? About probably 50 days. Is that fair? I don't even have the first training camp in front of me as to when players start reporting, but usually it's about the 25th, 26th of July is about in there, and then you get the Hall of Fame game. I think the 4th or the 11th, something like that, for the NFL. But the Deshaun Watson situation, Deshaun Watson's legal issues are not going to be resolved between now and the first weekend of the NFL. It's just not going to happen. There's too many cases now. There's too much stuff kind of piling up. But the NFL can resolve, or at least give clarity to his own the field situation. And it felt like last year they just kind of raised their hands and tried to stay out of it. it feels like they've got to get involved now and let the Browns know what can and cannot happen with Deshaun Watson, as opposed to just allowing the Browns, because the Browns are going to play him, right? You pay him that amount of money.
If they're allowed to. Yeah,
if the NFL doesn't step in, the Browns he's the starting quarterback for the Browns.
It's putting a lot of people in tough situations. And the Browns, they jumped the gun. They shouldn't have made the trade before there was clarity, but they thought that it was something about in one of the courts they decided not to press charges or something. I don't know what exactly the detail was, and that the Browns felt like was the go ahead to make the move. Roger Goodell has to do something. I just don't understand. Like, even if it's punitive, you just say Deshaun Watson's not playing this year. Okay, it's now settled, and now you don't need to talk about it. But he's just taking all this PR hits left and right, and more accusations keep coming out day after day, and nothing's happening, and no one's going to be satisfied. And this is never going to go away for the Browns, for the NFL, for Deshaun, for anybody. Plus, you've got this awkward quarterback situation with Baker there, and the longer you don't know Deshaun's future, the longer you're not going to know Baker's future. It's just a nightmare of a situation, and somebody needs to step in and do something. It's terrible PR 101 to just let this linger and just not have any sort of solution.
How bad does it make the Browns look if he is, given what they did, the contract, making the trade for him, really kind of going all in? How bad do they look? How much of a black eye is it for the Cleveland Browns if Deshaun Watson, let's just say, is just suspended? Let's not even go down to the legal aspect of what could or could not happen in what I would assume to be 2023. I would assume that's when we'll get an answer on that. But how bad is it a look for the Browns, a franchise that we already kind of laughed at prior to the last few years, maybe still continue to laugh at?
I think it's not going to look any worse because it's as bad as it can get. If he gets suspended, he's not going to lose any money because of the way the Browns worked his contract. So not only did they trade a fortune for him, gave him the biggest contract in the history of the sport, and they also worded his contract in such a way that I think it was all signing bonus is the way it was. It's not base salary, so that if he does get suspended, it's not going to hit his pockets at all. So they literally went above and beyond to say, we don't care what you did. And not only that, we want to make sure that you don't get punished financially if you end up having to miss games. It was brutal. It was a brutal, brutal look.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning if you want to be a part of the program. We've talked a little bit of Celtics Warriors. We've talked, obviously, some NFL. We've also talked about South Carolina having their recruiting weekend, 3 public commitments for Shane Beamer's staff yesterday. Jalen Kilgore, a safety out of Georgia, expected to make an announcement on Wednesday between South Carolina and Oklahoma. It's a kid that South Carolina really, really wants to add to their roster at the safety position, 6'2", 185 pounds. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. And we've also gotten into the number 25 player in our countdown of the top 30 players of the SEC era for South Carolina. It's Pharoh Cooper. We'll get back into that a little bit when we return. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's
30 for 30.
The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years.
Number 25, wide receiver, Pharoh Cooper.
Dylan Thompson wants to throw it, fakes it inside. A leaping Pharoh Cooper at the goal line. Are you kidding me? How did he make that catch?
In high school, Pharoh Cooper helped Havelock, North Carolina, win back-to-back 3A state titles. Cooper was rated a 4-star prospect and the state's 9th best player by Rivals. During his Gamecocks career, Cooper was named All-SEC 2 times as a wide receiver and all-purpose back.
Cooper comes into the backfield. Nunez wants to throw it to him. He does so. Pharoh wants to throw it. Now Pharoh's got some pressure. He's going to run. He's got Nunez out in front of him. Inside the 20. Inside the 15 to 10. Pharoh cut back. Touchdown Carolina. Touchdown Pharoh Cooper.
In 2014 versus Tennessee, Cooper set the single-game school record with 233 receiving yards. Pharoh was named the 2014 Independence Bowl MVP when he had 9 catches for 170 yards and a touchdown against Miami.
I've been working at a lot of different positions, the running back and the quarterback wildcat. And of course, receiver. I know pretty much all the play calls from every position. So
in 2014, Cooper had one of USC's 5 1,000-yard receiving seasons in program history, finishing up with 1,136, 3rd all-time. After his junior year, Cooper entered the NFL draft and was selected in the 4th round by the LA Rams.
Number 25, wide receiver, Pharaoh Cooper. It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30.
The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5
The Game.
And time to tell you about our friends at Canty Foundation Specialists. They are the foundation expert, and that goes for any foundation problem or crawl space issue that you might have. So if you have an open crawl space and recently experienced a storm, you might have standing water under your home. That can create high humidity and condensation, which creates an environment for mold, mildew, and pests, including termites. And the moisture that builds there can lead to wood rot and floor joist problems, create musty smells, awful odors from that mold and mildew, and they can cause health issues like runny nose, itchy eyes, or coughs. 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space, so you need to make sure it's taken care of, and you need to call 803-424-8380. That is the number for Canty Foundation Specialists. You can also find them with offices in Columbia, Greenville, Augusta, Charlotte, and Charleston, and they can do all sorts of stuff for you, whether it's concrete leveling, concrete repair, basement waterproofing, commercial services. I already mentioned the crawl space repair, and then just your core foundation problems. So if you have cracks in your exterior brick, if you have cracks in your walls or above your windows and door frames, above your garage door, if you have uneven or bouncy floors or doors or windows that stick, you're going to need to call Canty Foundation Specialists. Again, 803-424-8380 is the number to call, or visit them on the web at cantycanfixit.com.
If you have IRS tax problems, it can seem like a vicious cycle that never ends, year after year. Just getting the mail can be stressful and overwhelming. Don't let it ruin your life. There is a solution. Since 2008, the attorneys at Ecton Law Firm have devoted their practice to the resolution of tax problems for individuals and businesses across the Carolinas. We have the knowledge and experience and are dedicated to the success of each client. We are local attorneys with local solutions. At the free initial consultation, we'll listen to your concerns, your goals, and explain the systematic process we use in solving your tax problem. From that initial meeting, you'll see there is a solution. We're dedicated to improving your life by solving your tax problems. If we sound like someone you want to work with, take that first step. Give us a call at 803-771.
Yeah, South Carolina. Tennessee really kind of made themselves quite the villains. All right. We got about 15 more minutes.
We're already behind too.
Yeah, we'll do a quick segment here. We're good.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Eight zero 404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette. Jen Jensen will be back next week, so you get the two of us here through the week as we count down the final about 20 minutes of this program, and we'll turn it over to Pearson Fowler. And then coming up at lunch today, Tommy, Jay, and Terry will get you through. Heath Klein 3 to 6. We got plenty that we're going to cover, including our top 30 countdown of the top 30 players of the SEC era for South Carolina. So again, a lot there to cover. Number 25, as you just heard it, Pharoh Cooper, Patrick, and we've talked about it. And I don't know, look, you're talking to somebody who's watched a lot of South Carolina football in the last 25 years, who has seen a lot of really good players come through. And Cooper's career was 2 years, essentially. He was a 3-year player, but that first year didn't do a whole lot in 2013, kind of was behind some other really good players there, and only had 2 catches that year for 42 yards. His highlight moment came against Coastal Carolina in the 70-10 victory in 2013 when he ripped off a 71-yard touchdown run late in the game out of the Wildcat formation. Cooper that year, again, just 3 catches. This freshman year, 3 catches, 54 yards. He had 20 rushing attempts for 202 yards that year. So not really anything. But all of a sudden, 2014, after a lot of guys had departed, Pharoh Cooper became a go-to guy and absolutely carried South Carolina, was a big part of a great wide receiving group. He had 10 catches for 114 yards against Vanderbilt. He had 11 catches for 223 yards against Tennessee, 7 catches for 127 yards against Auburn. Just a very solid all-around player. And Patrick, statistically speaking, single season records, he's up there. That season, 69 catches, 1,136 yards, and it gets kind of glossed over because the defense stunk and South Carolina finished 7-6.
Well, it just kind of shows how hard it is to put things like this in perspective, because there's so many things that get factored in and you try to isolate them as the voters. But, the team success, was the team good at that time? What have they done post-college? Because you only get this short little window to look at them, and it's hard to not be influenced by what they've done in the NFL. Do you talk about, like, at their peak, how good were they? Or is it over 4 years, what did they do over 4 years? Because Pharoh and a guy like Brian Edwards are completely different cases. Brian Edwards comes in right away, starts catching a bunch of balls, and ends up compiling amazing stats, whereas Pharoh Cooper had a shorter career, sort of switched over full-time to the offensive side as a freshman, didn't do anything as a freshman, and then had 2 full seasons to really compile stats and be great. So I don't know. It's just really hard to put things like this, but it's hard to say that at his best, there were, 5 receivers better than Pharoh Cooper, just with what he can do with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, and it's a situation in which with Cooper, because 2014 South Carolina blew the big leads, lost games where they just simply shouldn't have, finished 7-6, and then 2015 he again was just about 70 yards shy of 1,000 yards, but South Carolina was 3-9, and I think that's what hurts, is that not many people necessarily remember what Pharoh Cooper could do, and it was that weird transition into the Will Muschamp era. I mean, again, you're talking about a guy who has the most receiving yards in a single game. You're talking about a guy who ranks up there with really just, again, 2 seasons, Patrick, 2 seasons, and he's 12th all time in receptions and yards. I mean, he's up there in terms of overall great wide receivers. He's 12th again by receptions. He's also tied for 7th in South Carolina history with 9 touchdown catches, just 4 behind the leader for a season there, Sidney Rice. He had 9 in 2014. He had 8 in 2013. So it's not like, but again, I'll go back, and that 2014 season, that puts him 3rd all time in terms of single season receiving yards. Alshon Jeffrey, Sidney Rice, Pharaoh Cooper. There's your top 3. Sterling Sharp's number 4 on that list. Sidney Rice also had his another season in there to put him in. Actually, Pharaoh, I just looked at this. Pharaoh's 2 seasons, both of them are in the top 6. He's got the 6th best season ever in terms of receiving yards, and he's got the 3rd best. We'll continue talking about this. If you want to weigh in on Pharaoh Cooper, our number 25 player on our list of top 30 players in the SEC era for South Carolina, it's Bill Gunner, it's Patrick Prentice, the early game on 107.5 The Game.
On the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Monday edition of the Extra Point, we'll talk to Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central to get a sense for how all the official visits, and there were a lot of them taking place on South Carolina's campus this weekend, how they went, some guys that are maybe leaning now South Carolina that weren't before, and maybe a few guys that are ready to commit here in the next couple of weeks. Plus, we'll talk about the NBA Finals. That is, unless the Boston Celtics have won it in 5 games. If they win Friday and Sunday, I will probably not be here Monday because I will probably have retired forever because I can't handle Boston sports fans. With that in mind, hoping to have a chance to talk to Mikey Uva about Boston sports, assuming that Golden State's swung the series and they're up 3-2 now. All that and more on the Extra Point.
The Extra Point.
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Was out of town this weekend playing golf. Had a blast. But, man, I tell you what, you come home last night, you play, what did we play? 54 holes in 3 days. You're exhausted. You're worn out. It's been hot. You don't realize how much you miss your bed. You don't realize how great sleeping in a Sleep Number bed is until you've been out of town for a few days and you come home exhausted. It felt awesome last night being back in that Sleep Number bed. Put the Sleep Number setting on 45, and I tell you what, falling asleep, absolutely zero problems. Definitely not ready to get up and come here this morning and do a radio show, but I did. I got it, and I did it all because of a great night of sleep. You can do the same. Why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number? Because every great day starts the night before. And right now, don't miss Sleep Number's weekend special. Wrapping up today, June the 13th, you can save $700 on select Sleep Number 360 smart beds plus special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See sleepnumber.com for details, and free home delivery when you add a base. It's the Sleep Number weekend special. Savings up to $700 on select Sleep Number 360 smart beds. Plus, you can get some special financing and free home delivery when you add a base. But the deal ends today. Got to get to a Sleep Number store. 2 to choose from. 1 in Irmo, Harbison Boulevard, across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia. 2 Notch Road, across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. I'm telling you what, I was out of town, missed that Sleep Number bed, remembered last night just how great that thing is. You can do the same. Go ahead, make the switch to the Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And just seeing one accident right now. This is going to be on I-26 westbound, mile marker 104. Accident in progress there. Again, I-26 westbound, mile marker 104.
Sponsored by The Blood Connection, your community blood center.
It's heating up out there, which means the Blood Connection needs your help. The summer is the hardest time of year for your community blood center to get enough blood for local hospitals. Be a good neighbor. Donate blood with this community's only blood provider. Sign up at thebloodconnection.org/donate.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Mid-State twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
After being almost $500,000 in tax debt, I was listening to the radio one day and heard a ad for John Ecton Law Firm. So I gave him a call and met with him, and he gave me the confidence to trust him after the reason behind my tax problems anyways was trusting someone I probably should have never trusted. He did everything he said he was going to do, and then some. His staff at the office were great, very knowledgeable. with John's help, I have no tax debt now, and I was able to have a family that otherwise I would have never been able to have.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
You do not. Yeah, we mentioned North Greenville. I'm sorry. I didn't. I just saw What About in Greenville. It just put it together. And Hot Sauce Ross, I hate that I guess, went wandering behind us. Final segment of the program. Turning you over to Pearson Fowler here in just a few minutes tonight. Game 5, Warriors and Celtics. Patrick going Warriors. I've got Celtics, I believe, is what we've narrowed it down to. Also, we mentioned it in the first hour, but congratulations to North Greenville winning the Division II National Championship for the Crusaders over the weekend. And Rick asking on our live stream, Landon Powell going to take the Clemson job. Based on what John Whittle has reported and what I've just kind of gotten from a few other people, I don't think Landon Powell is in consideration at all for the Clemson job. And quite frankly, I still think like Landon Powell needs to move up to the Division I side of things. Like if South Carolina's job had become open, I'm not sure I would be particularly thrilled. Like aside from an alumni, if South Carolina hired a Division II coach that was not a alumni, not a former player, people around here would be livid, Patrick. Like the South Carolina baseball job is supposed to be one of the top 10 jobs in the country, if not a little bit higher. And I think the world of Landon Powell, and Trey Dyson's a good buddy of ours, and kudos to them. And I hope this leads to bigger and better things. Maybe they love it at North Greenville, but maybe something will kind of pop up. But for them, I think you'd love to see Landon Powell move into the Division I level before South Carolina talks about hiring him.
Yeah, I mean it's a ways away from that. But again, I don't know what he's making, and I don't know what the jump would be from a national championship winning Division II team to a low level
in terms of money.
One team. Yeah,
I'm going to go with close to. I mean, I'm dead serious. I would assume if not $500,000. Again, South Carolina financially is about to start playing should be playing a different ball game when it comes to paying coaches if some of these television contracts go through and everything. And look, South Carolina's job is not open yet. And Mark Kingston certainly has a chance to turn this thing around and prove that he's the guy that can lead the job. There's no question about that. And so, Kingston's back for 2023. He's got every opportunity. He's going to have a pretty solid pitching staff. We'll see how some of the guys develop, but I think it'll be very interesting to see. And hopefully this is something that'll catapult Landon Powell into a Division I job so that he can continue to build that resume. But for people, I think if South Carolina had an opening, just past tense, if something happened, I don't think you're shooting for Landon Powell. I think you're trying to go out and land an elite level coach at the high level. Did
Jarrett just put himself out of the running?
Nope. Link Jarrett will be at Florida State. You saw that over the weekend? Mike Martin Jr., the Florida State. No, nothing official with Link Jarrett to Florida State. But Link Jarrett, Florida State firing Mike Martin Jr. over the weekend, and a lot of rumors. I think Link Jarrett was played at Florida State and is from there. A lot of people thinking that Florida State basically went ahead and pulled the Mark Richt Kirby Smart move and just said, all right, Mike Martin Jr., even though your father has coached here for 40 years or whatever it was, we got a better coach out there that we know is going to be snapped up.
Yeah.
We better go make the move.
There have been situations where the guys just fall in love with where they're at. There's any chance if Notre Dame matched Florida State's offer, he'd stay? Do you think guys like that, it's just you got the chance to go to your alma mater and go back home?
I think, to go back home. Notre Dame's not
I don't know anything about Notre Dame baseball.
Yeah, watch them this week. They're
historically, what have they been?
They will be in the College World Series. You'll have
Do they have a strong history
of baseball?
Being a strong baseball program?
I don't think a strong history. I'm trying to think. I forgot his name. The one of the LSU coaches recently had come from, and maybe somebody out there can remember. I'm just blanking on what the coach's name was that went to LSU a couple of years ago. Paul Maneri. That's right. Paul Maneri had gone to it. Just kind of looking regional champs. They've won a regional 3 times in their history. This will be their 3rd College World Series appearance. First since 2002. Prior to that was 1957. Appreciate everybody being a part of the program this morning. Again, congratulations to North Greenville on winning a national championship in baseball. Congratulations to the Warriors for making it a series on Friday, 2-2 in that one. And we didn't talk Tampa Bay Lightning, Patrick. They found a way to get it done. They knock off the New York Rangers.
Wednesday night.
Lightning Avs, Wednesday night. Pharaoh Cooper, your number 25 player overall in the countdown of top 30 players for South Carolina in the SEC era. Whole bunch to discuss today with Pearson, with Jay, with Tommy, with Terry, and Heath Klein. I want to talk to. It's 107.5 The Game. We'll see you tomorrow.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
Yep, that's what I was asking, RL. We'll see you all, though. Have a good one.